There is an ancient truth, a wisdom whispered not in crowded halls of learning, but in the vast silence of the desert and the deep stillness of the forest. It says that the great work is not to command the storm outside, but to find the unshakable anchor within. The masters of the inner world knew that the universe does not happen to you, it flows through you. It does not conspire against you. It simply and perfectly reflects the state of your own being. And what is your being, if not a landscape of feeling, a constant weather of emotion that seems to command your sky? Have you not felt it? The sudden squall of anger, the long grey drizzle of sorrow, the blinding fog of fear. We have been taught to fight this weather, to build dams against the sadness, and to shout back at the thunder. We have been told that a worthy life is one of sunny, cloudless days, and so we exhaust ourselves, resisting the very nature of our own inner climate. But what if this was a profound misunderstanding? What if you are not the weather at all? What if you are the sky, vast and deep, and untouched by the clouds that pass? This is the journey we are about to take together. Not a journey to acquire a new skill or to learn a new trick of the mind. This is a journey of remembrance, a journey home. We will walk the quiet path back to the silent watcher that lives behind your eyes, the calm presence that was there before your first joy and will be there after your last fear. We will not seek to build an armor against feeling, but to cultivate a space so deep and wide that all feelings can arise, deliver their sacred message, and pass, leaving you not broken, but wiser. This is an exploration into the alchemy of the soul, a process of finding the still point in the turning world, the unshakable core of peace that is not built, but discovered. It is already there. It is you. Let us begin. Let us begin by turning our gaze inward, not to the soul just yet, but to the antechamber where most of us spend our lives, the space we have come to mistake for our entire home. This is the unquiet mind. Before one can find silence, one must first, with great courage and compassion, acknowledge the noise. This is not an admission of failure. It is the universal human condition. To be born into this world is to be given a mind that is a relentless creator of thoughts, a weaver of stories, a projector of possibilities. We are told this mind is our greatest asset, and it can be, but for so many of us, it has become a tyrannical ruler, a source of profound and constant exhaustion. Imagine your mind is a vast, ancient marketplace, one that never closes. It is teeming with life, vibrant and chaotic. From the moment you awaken, you are thrust into its narrow, crowded streets. The air is thick with 1,000 competing voices, a cacophony of sound and color and urgency. Over in one corner is the vendor of regret. He is a persistent merchant, his stall piled high with yesterday's mistakes, replaying them for you on an endless loop, each time with a new angle of shame. He calls out to you, showing you the tarnished goods of your past, convincing you to hold them, to feel their weight again and again. You have bought from him so many times. You have forgotten what it feels like to have empty hands. A little further down, you find the stall of future anxiety, run by a frantic, wide-eyed woman who only deals in catastrophe. She sells prophecies of what might go wrong, what could be lost, what dangers lie ahead. Her voice is shrill, compelling, and she shoves her dark visions into your path, insisting you pay attention, insisting you prepare for a future that has not yet been written, but which she paints with terrifying detail. Her business thrives on your fear, and business is always booming. There are other vendors too. The vendor of comparison, who displays the polished, curated lives of others next to your own raw, unedited existence. The vendor of judgment, a sour-faced man who points a crooked finger at every passerby and then, most viciously, turns it upon you, listing your flaws, your inadequacies, your every failure to be perfect. The small-time peddlers of minor worries, of rehearsed conversations, of insignificant slights. All of them are shouting for your attention, pulling at your sleeve, demanding that you stop, that you engage, that you buy what they are selling. And for years, you have. You have navigated this marketplace believing you were one of the shoppers, or perhaps even one of the vendors yourself. You have identified with the chaos. You have believed that the noise of the market is the sound of your own soul. You have run from one stall to another, trying to appease the vendor of guilt, trying to outrun the merchant of fear, haggling with the purveyor of doubt. It is no wonder you are tired. It is no wonder you feel a deep and aching fatigue that no amount of sleep can cure. This is the cost of living in the unquiet mind. You are so consumed by the inner chatter that you miss the gentle touch of the sun on your skin in the present moment. You are so busy rehearsing a future argument that you do not truly hear the words a loved one is speaking to you right now. You make decisions not from a place of deep, intuitive wisdom, but from the panicked shout of the loudest vendor in your head. This mental machinery was not designed to be your enemy. In its origin, it was a survival tool. It was meant to recognize patterns, to anticipate threats, to learn from past errors. It is a biological inheritance, a magnificent and complex instrument. But the great human tragedy is that we have mistaken the instrument for the musician. We have allowed the servant to become the master. We have forgotten that we are not the marketplace. We are the space in which the marketplace appears. So what is the first step on this path of remembrance? It is not, as you might think, to charge into the market and try to silence the vendors. To fight them is to give them your energy. To argue with the vendor of regret only gives him a new story to sell. To scream back at the vendor of anxiety only adds to the cacophony. The first step, the most radical and powerful action you can take, is to do nothing. It is to simply stop. Just for a moment. Right now. Stop trying to fix, to solve, to improve, to escape. Cease the internal struggle. Take a breath and acknowledge the noise. Without judgment, without resistance. Let the voices shout. Let the merchants peddle their wares. Do not engage. Do not bargain. Do not run. Simply listen. Hear the chaos for what it is, a collection of energies, of thoughts, of conditioned patterns. It is not you. It is the weather passing through your sky. Acknowledge its presence as you would acknowledge the sound of falling rain. It is there. That is all. This act of pure, non-judgmental acknowledgement is the beginning of freedom, because in the moment you simply notice the noise without being swept away by it, something profound happens. A space is created. A separation occurs. You are no longer lost in the crowd. Imagine that in the heart of this bustling, chaotic marketplace, there is a tall, silent tower. And in that tower, there is a quiet room with a single, open balcony. The invitation now is to leave the crowded streets and begin the slow ascent up the stairs of this tower. You don't have to make the marketplace disappear. You are simply changing your position relative to it. From the balcony, you can look down and see the entire scene. You can see the vendor of regret calling out, but from this height, his voice is just one sound among many. You can see the merchant of anxiety waving her dark tapestries, but from this distance, you can see they are just threads of thought, not binding realities. From this balcony, you have perspective. You are no longer a frantic participant, but a calm observer. The noise is still there, perhaps, but it no longer defines your world. You are in the world, but not of it. The peace you seek is not in an empty marketplace, for such a thing does not exist. The peace you seek is on this balcony. It is the quiet space of awareness that can hold the chaos. It is the stillness that is not disturbed by the noise. For now, it is enough to know that this balcony exists. It is enough to acknowledge the noise of the streets below without contempt or fear. This acknowledgement is the first turn of the key in the lock of your inner prison. You are not the noise. You are not the chaos. You are the silent, spacious awareness that witnesses it all. You have stood for a lifetime in the clamor of the marketplace. Today, you have found the doorway to the tower. You have taken the first step up its winding staircase. You have acknowledged the market. Now, we will become acquainted with the one who watches from above. You have found the doorway to the silent tower and have taken the first steps away from the relentless noise of the marketplace below. From this new vantage point, this quiet balcony of awareness, we begin the most profound shift in identity a human being can experience. We move from identifying with the chaos to remembering the stillness that holds it. We learn to become the silent watcher. This watcher has 1,000 names: consciousness, awareness, the self, presence. The name does not matter. What matters is the direct experience of it. It is the part of you that has been with you since the very beginning. It is the silent, unchanging presence that witnessed your first steps, that felt the sting of your first scraped knee, that experienced the giddiness of young love, the hollowness of loss, the quiet satisfaction of a day's work well done. Thoughts have come and gone. Beliefs have shifted like sand. Your body has changed. Your circumstances have transformed. But the one who was aware of it all, that core of knowing, has remained. It is the thread of continuity in your life. It is the screen upon which the movie of your life has been projected. We have been conditioned to be utterly fascinated by the movie, so much so that we have forgotten we are the screen itself. The ultimate freedom lies in this remembering. And for this, we need a new metaphor, one more vast than the balcony, as vast as being itself. Imagine that you are the sky, not a part of the sky, not contained within the sky. Your fundamental nature, the very essence of your consciousness, is the sky itself, limitless, open, spacious, and eternally peaceful. It has no color of its own, but holds all light. It has no sound of its own, but holds all silence. It is always, and in all ways, present. Now, consider your thoughts. Each thought that arises in your mind is a cloud, a fleeting, passing phenomenon. Some clouds are light and wispy, like pleasant daydreams or happy memories. They drift lazily across the blue expanse of your being and cast no shadow. Others are heavy, grey, and laden with the moisture of sorrow or grief. They move slowly, and for a time, they may seem to cover everything, releasing their rain of tears. And then there are the thunderheads, the dark, towering clouds of anger, resentment, or terror. They flash with the lightning of furious thoughts and rumble with the thunder of powerful sensations in your body. They are dramatic, immense, and overwhelming. For your entire life, you have been taught to be a cloud watcher, but a very specific kind. You have been taught to identify with the clouds. When a dark cloud of sadness appears, you say, "I am sad." You collapse the infinite sky of your being into the finite shape of that one cloud. You become the weather. When a thunderhead of anger builds, you say, "I am angry." You take on the electrical charge of the storm, believing that its turbulence is your own identity. We do this so automatically that we never question it. We believe we are the passing cloud, and so we are tossed and turned by every shift in the wind. We feel fragile, vulnerable, and at the mercy of our own inner weather patterns, because we have forgotten that we are the vast, unshakable sky that holds them all. The storm cannot harm the sky. This is a truth of radical importance. A hurricane can rage, lightning can tear through the air, but the sky itself is never scarred, never broken, never diminished. When the storm has passed, as all storms do, the sky is still there, just as open and peaceful as it was before. The dark cloud cannot stain the sky. It can obscure the blue for a time. It can hide the light of the sun, but it can never impart its darkness onto the nature of the sky itself. Your being is the same. The deepest grief, the most intense anger, The most terrifying fear can pass through you, but they cannot harm the essence of who you are. The awareness that witnesses the pain is not itself in pain. The consciousness that holds the anger is not itself angry. It is simply and profoundly aware. Let us experience this now. If you feel safe and comfortable to do so, allow your eyes to gently close. Take a deep, slow breath, and as you exhale, let go of the tension in your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. Now, simply notice what is present in your mind. A thought will likely appear. Do not seek it out. Just wait for the next one to arrive. Perhaps it's a thought about what you need to do later. Perhaps it's a memory. Perhaps it's a judgment about this very exercise. Whatever it is, just let it be there. Now, notice this. There is the thought, and there is you, noticing the thought. Can you feel that subtle separation? There is the cloud, and here you are, the sky. See the thought as a cloud, drifting through the vast space of your awareness. It has a shape, a size, a speed. Just watch it. You don't have to climb onto it. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to push it away. Simply watch it drift. From its arising to its passing, another will surely follow. Watch that one too. Now, bring your attention to your body. Is there a feeling or an emotion present? Perhaps a sense of calm, perhaps a subtle restlessness, maybe a feeling of heaviness in your chest or lightness in your stomach. Whatever it is, big or small, pleasant or unpleasant, see this feeling also as a weather pattern within the sky of your being. It is another cloud with its own color, temperature, and texture. It is not you. It is a temporary energy event happening within you. You are the space that holds it. You are the silent, loving awareness that allows it to be here without resistance. Stay with this for a moment. The simple, quiet, powerful truth of being the sky and allowing the weather of thought and emotion to pass through. This is the silent watcher in practice. To live from this place does not mean that life will be devoid of clouds. Storms will still gather. The weather of human experience, with its joys and its sorrows, will continue. The difference is revolutionary. You no longer live at the mercy of the weather. You have found your home in the sky. When the rains of sadness come, you can allow them to fall, knowing they are watering the seeds of compassion within you and that the sun is still shining behind the clouds. You are the sky that holds the rain, not the ground that becomes mud. When the winds of anger blow, you can feel their immense power without being uprooted, because you are anchored in the vastness of your own presence. You are the space through which the wind howls, not the fragile tree that might break. This is not cold detachment. It is the birth of true intimacy with life. When you are no longer afraid of your own inner weather, you can finally allow yourself to feel everything fully. You can experience the full spectrum of your humanity without the constant underlying fear of being annihilated by it. You realize that your capacity to feel is as limitless as the sky itself. From this spaciousness, true resilience is born. It is an unshakable quality that does not come from being tough or calloused, but from being open and vast. The storms may rage on the surface of the ocean, but the depths remain profoundly still. By identifying with the sky, you have discovered your own depth. You have remembered your true name. You are not the fleeting thought. You are not the passing emotion. You are the silent, spacious, eternal sky that holds all of life's precious, wild, and beautiful weather. You have remembered your own vastness. And now that you know you are the sky, we can learn the language of the clouds. For they are not random apparitions. They are sacred messengers, arriving with gifts of wisdom for the one who is still enough to receive them. You are the sky, and you have remembered your own vastness. You have found the still, silent witness that is your true home, the untouched presence that can hold all the weather of life. Now, from this place of spaciousness, we turn our attention back to the clouds, but with a new reverence, a new curiosity. For the clouds are not random. The emotions that drift and storm through you are not punishments, nor are they mistakes. They are sacred messengers. They are couriers from the deepest part of your being, from the intelligence of the universe itself, carrying vital information for your journey. For too long, we have treated these messengers as invaders. When we feel the familiar rumble of anger's approach, we bolt the door and shutter the windows. When we see the heavy cloak of sadness on the horizon, we turn away and pretend not to be home. When we hear the urgent knock of fear, we hide and hope it goes away. We have refused delivery for so long that the unopened letters have piled up at our door, creating a dense blockage of energy, a persistent, low-grade suffering. The path to unshakable emotional intelligence is the path of learning to welcome these messengers. It is the art of opening the door, looking the courier in the eye, and accepting the letter they carry with a steady hand. It is the courage to sit in stillness, break the seal, and read the message that has been sent just for you. Each emotion is a specialist, a messenger with a unique purpose and a distinct energetic signature. Let us begin by inviting in the most misunderstood of them all, anger, the messenger of fire. We have been taught that anger is dangerous, destructive, something to be suppressed or ashamed of. When it arrives, it feels like a consuming fire, and in our fear of its power, we either try to smother it with guilt or we let it explode uncontrollably, burning ourselves and those around us. But this is a misunderstanding of its sacred duty. Anger is a guardian. It is a divine protector. Its fire is the energy of life itself, rising up to defend your integrity. The messenger of anger only appears when a boundary has been violated. Its letter, when you dare to read it, does not say, "Destroy everything." It says, "Pay attention. A line has been crossed. A value you hold dear is being trampled. Your sacred space, be it physical, emotional, or spiritual, has been trespassed upon. Your truth is being denied." Anger is the energy that rises to say no. It is the strength to protect the vulnerable parts of yourself. It is the fuel for righteous change in a world that is unjust. The work is not to extinguish the fire, but to learn to be its master, to move from unconscious, destructive rage to conscious, focused, and cleansing fire. When anger arrives, the practice is to pause, to feel the heat and power in your body without immediately acting, and to ask it with respect, what boundary has been violated? What needs to be protected here? In its answer, you will not find a demand for violence, but a clear call to restore balance and honor your own truth. Next, let us open the door to the gentlest and perhaps most feared messenger, sadness, the messenger of water. Our world treats sadness as a weakness, a state of brokenness to be medicated, distracted from, and overcome as quickly as possible. We see its arrival as a failure, but sadness is a messenger of love. It is a testament to your capacity to connect, to value, to cherish. Sadness can only exist where love has been before. It is the honor guard that arrives after something precious has been lost, a person, a dream, a period of your life, an illusion. Its presence is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that your heart has been bravely open. The letter delivered by sadness is a love letter to what has gone. When you read it through your tears, it says, "Look here, see how much this mattered, see how deeply you loved. Let us honor the significance of this connection. Let us wash the wound with the sacred waters of grief so that it may heal clean." To deny sadness, to build a dam against its flow, is to refuse to honor what you have loved. It is to implicitly state that it did not matter. Unfelt sadness does not disappear. It freezes inside, creating a brittle, numb landscape in the soul where joy can no longer take root. The work of sadness is to surrender to its flow, to allow the tears to come as a cleansing, not a collapse, to create a safe space to feel the ache of loss, knowing that this ache is the echo of love. When sadness visits, the practice is to sit with it as you would a dear friend, to hold its hand and to ask, what is it we are honoring today? What beautiful thing are we remembering? Sadness is the rain that allows the soil of your soul to become fertile again. And then there is fear, the swift primal messenger of the vital present. Fear arrives with a surge of pure, raw energy that electrifies the body. We call it an enemy. We believe courage is the absence of fear, but this is not true. Courage is acting in spite of fear, and one can only do that by first acknowledging its message. Fear is a messenger of presence. Its fundamental purpose is to awaken you, to snap you out of the trance of the past and future, and pull all of your awareness into the immediacy of the now. Its letter is often written in a single, urgent word. Listen, look, be awake. Something here requires your full, undivided attention. Sometimes it points to a genuine external threat, and its energy is a gift, providing the adrenaline and focus needed to respond effectively. But more often, in our modern world, the messenger of fear is pointing to something internal. It points to a wound from the past that is being touched. It points to the unknown territory of the future, which the ego so desperately wants to control. It points to the possibility of failure, of rejection, of revealing your true self and not being accepted. The letter it carries says, here is the edge of your comfort zone. Here is a place where a part of you feels unprepared and unsafe. The work is not to obey the fear and retreat, nor is it to recklessly ignore it. The work is to breathe into the energy, to stand your ground, feel the electricity in your veins, and face what the fear is pointing at. Ask it, what are you trying to protect me from? What wound is being activated? What is the illusion you are asking me to see through? When you meet fear with this kind of conscious presence, its frantic energy often transforms. It becomes heightened awareness. It becomes excitement. It becomes the thrilling vibration of life itself, lived at the edge of your own becoming. These are but three of the many messengers that visit you. Guilt, the messenger that points to a place where your actions were out of alignment with your values, inviting you to restore integrity. Joy, the messenger that shows you when you are perfectly aligned with your soul's path, urging you to follow that direction. Shame, the deep messenger that points to a part of yourself you have deemed unworthy of love, begging for you to bring it back into the fold with compassion. The journey of emotional mastery is this ongoing practice of compassionate inquiry. It is the shift from resistance to reception. When a feeling rises within the sky of your awareness, you can now recognize it not as a random weather event, but as a purposeful delivery. You learn to pause. You learn to breathe. You learn to welcome the courier, take the sealed letter, and thank them for their service. You have learned to read the messages. You have begun to form an alliance with the deepest parts of yourself. But these letters are not written in intellectual language. The messengers do not speak in words alone. They speak a more ancient and honest tongue, a language of pure sensation. The letters they carry are written in the very ink of your physical body. To become truly fluent in their wisdom, we must now learn to read the language of life itself, as it is written in your flesh, your bones, and your breath. You have opened your heart to the wisdom of the sacred messengers. You have learned that anger is a guardian, sadness is a tribute to love, and fear is a call to presence. You have agreed to stop fighting the weather of your soul and instead to learn from its patterns. Now, we go deeper. We move from the conceptual to the tangible, from the mind to the matter that gives it form. For the letters these messengers carry are not written with mundane ink on paper. They are written in the language of life itself, the universal tongue of vibration and energy, and the sacred text upon which they are written is your own body. For centuries, we have been taught to see the body as a machine, a vehicle to carry the brain. a vessel that is prone to failure and decay. We have been divorced from its innate intelligence. But the body is not a dumb machine. It is a finely tuned, resonant instrument. It is an antenna of immense sensitivity, constantly receiving, interpreting, and broadcasting energy. The mind can lie. The ego can construct elaborate stories and justifications, but the body cannot. The body speaks the unvarnished, pre-verbal truth. A tremor of anxiety, a warmth of connection, a knot of resistance. These are truths more honest than 1,000 well-reasoned thoughts. This is the wisdom our ancestors knew. They spoke of a gut feeling, a heavy heart, a lump in the throat. They knew that wisdom was not only held in the head, but felt in the flesh. We are now in a process of remembering this, of reclaiming the intelligence of our own organism. To do this, we will use a new metaphor. If your awareness is the sky, then your body is your compass. It is the instrument that tells you, in any given moment, whether you are aligned with your true north. Your true north is your authentic self, your soul's purpose, your deepest integrity. It is the path of least resistance, not because it is easy, but because it is true for you. When you are aligned with your true north, there is a sense of flow, of rightness, of peace, even amidst challenges. And the needle of this compass is physical sensation. The needle points in one of two fundamental directions: expansion or contraction. Contraction is the body's no. It is the feeling of tightening, shrinking, closing down. It is the clenched jaw when you hold back your words. It is the knot in your stomach when you are faced with a choice that feels wrong. It is the shallow breathing that comes with fear. It is the subtle bracing of your muscles when you are in the presence of someone whose energy is not aligned with yours. We have been taught to ignore these signals, to push through them. We have been told that a knot of anxiety is a weakness to be overcome, but it is not a weakness. It is information. It is the compass needle swinging wildly, saying, "Warning, the path you are considering leads away from your truth. The thought you are believing is out of alignment. The situation you are in is draining your life force." Contraction is a sacred signal, a loving guidance system telling you to pause and reevaluate. Expansion is the body's deep, resonant yes. It is the feeling of opening, softening, widening. It is the warmth that spreads through your chest when you feel a moment of pure connection or love. It is the deep, easy breath that comes when you feel safe and at peace. It is the relaxed solar plexus when you make a decision that feels authentically right. It is the sensation of energy flowing freely through your limbs. Expansion is the feeling of resonance. It is the compass needle aligning perfectly with true north, humming with the quiet vibration of truth. This is the feeling of being in flow, of being on the right path, of being in alignment with the universe. To learn to decode these physical sensations is to gain access to the most reliable guidance system you will ever have. It is to learn to trust your own organism over the noisy opinions of the world or the fearful chatter of your conditioned mind. Let us practice reading this compass now. Find a comfortable position, sitting or lying down. Let your eyes close if you wish. Begin by bringing your attention to your breath, not changing it, but simply noticing its rhythm, the gentle rise and fall of your chest or belly. Now, let us begin a journey through the body, not to fix or change anything, but simply to listen with loving curiosity. Bring your awareness all the way down to your feet. Notice the sensations present. Is there warmth, coolness, tingling, pressure? Perhaps there is a feeling of being solidly grounded, or perhaps they feel distant and numb. There is no right or wrong answer. Simply notice. This is the ink of the letter. Be the silent, spacious sky that holds these sensations. Slowly, let your awareness travel up through your ankles, your calves, your knees, and into your thighs. Notice any areas of tightness or ease, just observing. Now, bring your full attention to the base of your spine and your pelvic bowl, the seat of your primal instincts and feelings of safety. Is this area relaxed and heavy, or is it clenched and tight? What is the quality of the energy here? Just listen. Gently guide your awareness up into your belly and solar plexus. This is the center of your intuition, your gut feeling. Place a hand here if it helps. What is the message from this center right now? Is there a sense of calm fluidity, like a still lake? Or is there a churning, a knot, a tightness? This is your compass speaking directly to you about your current state of being. Do not analyze it. Just feel it. Just receive the raw data. Now, allow your focus to rise into the space of your heart and chest. This is the center of connection, love, and compassion. What sensations reside here? Does your chest feel open and expansive, as if you could breathe into your very heart? Or is there a sense of heaviness, a shield, an ache, a protective wall? These are not just feelings, they are physical realities in your energy field. Be with the sensation, whatever it is, with utter kindness. You are reading the most sacred script. Travel now to your hands. Feel the energy in your palms, in each finger. Are they warm and relaxed, or cold and tense? Your hands are how you connect with and shape the world. What is their story in this moment? Move your awareness to your shoulders. This is where we so often carry the weight of the world, our burdens, our responsibilities. Can you feel that weight? Or is there a sense of lightness? Allow your shoulders to be exactly as they are. And finally, bring your attention to your throat and your jaw. Is your throat open, allowing for the free flow of expression? Or is there a lump, a tightness, a feeling of unspoken words? Is your jaw clenched, holding back a river of feeling? Just notice. You have just read a chapter from the book of your own body. This compass is with you always. Begin to consult it in your daily life. Before you say yes to a request, pause, breathe, feel your body. Is there expansion or contraction? When you are considering a new project or path, bring it to mind and listen to your gut, your heart. The answer is there, clear and simple, before the mind has time to create its complex arguments for and against. When you are with other people, notice how your body compass reacts. Certain people will leave you feeling open and energized. Others will leave you feeling drained and constricted. This is not a judgment about them. It is invaluable information for you about where to invest your precious life force. To trust this compass is a radical act. It is to declare that an intelligence wiser than your thinking mind resides within your very cells. It is to come home to yourself in the most profound way. You have welcomed the messengers. You have begun to read the ink of their letters written in the language of your body. But what happens when that language is painful? What do you do when the compass needle of contraction is strong, when the sensation is one of intense discomfort? The mind's immediate instinct is to brace, to fight, to numb, to escape. But there is a deeper wisdom, a more powerful path. It is the path of surrender. And in that sacred art, we do not find weakness, but our most unshakable strength. You have learned to listen to the messengers. You have learned to read the sacred script written in the ink of physical sensation on the pages of your body. Your body compass, with its needle of expansion and contraction, is now a known and trusted tool. But this leads us to the most crucial territory of the inner world, the landscape where true mastery is forged. What do we do when the message is one of intense pain? What is our response when the body compass points so strongly to contraction, to fear, to grief, that it feels unbearable? The conditioned mind, the ego, has only one answer: control. It braces for impact. It tightens. It resists. It fights. It believes that through sheer force of will, it can dominate the feeling, manage the outcome, and prevent the pain. This belief in control is the fundamental source of human anxiety. It is the great, exhausting, and ultimately futile war that we wage against the nature of reality itself. Control is the ego's desperate attempt to nail the river to the floor. It is the belief that you can command the tides, schedule the sunrise, and prevent the seasons from turning. It is a state of perpetual inner tension, a constant bracing against what is. Look at your own life. The moments of greatest stress were likely moments where you were trying to force a particular outcome, to manage the perceptions of others, to prevent a feared possibility from happening. This struggle is like holding a wild bird in your hand. The tighter you squeeze to control it, the more it struggles, and the more likely you are to crush the very thing you wish to keep safe. The need to control is born from a deep-seated fear that if you were to let go, even for a moment, everything would fall apart. It is a profound distrust of life. But this control is an illusion, and maintaining an illusion requires a constant, draining expenditure of your life force. The antidote, the path to true power and peace, is held in a single, deeply misunderstood word: surrender. When we hear this word, our conditioning screams of weakness, of defeat, of giving up, of laying down our arms and letting the enemy walk all over us. This is the ego's definition, born of its fear of annihilation. We must wipe the slate clean and understand surrender, not as the ego does, but as the soul does. True surrender is not passivity. It is not resignation. It is not becoming a doormat or condoning abuse. It is not giving up on your dreams. It is the most courageous and intelligent act a conscious being can perform. Surrender is the audacious act of trusting the flow of life. It is the conscious release of your futile resistance to the present moment. It is looking reality squarely in the eye, in all its beauty and all its pain, and saying a profound and unwavering yes to what is. Imagine you are in a small boat on a vast, powerful river. The river is life, the universe, the Tao. It has a current, and it is flowing inexorably toward the great ocean. But you have been told that you must go back upstream, toward the source. And so, you put your oars in the water and you begin to row. Your muscles burn, your back aches, sweat pours from your brow. You fight the current with all your might. The scenery on the banks is a blur because your gaze is fixed on your struggle. The sound of the birds is drowned out by your own grunting and gasping. This is the life of control. It is a constant, exhausting battle against the fundamental energy of existence. Now, imagine in a moment of utter exhaustion, a moment of grace. You stop, you let the oars rest. The boat immediately begins to turn and drift with the current. There is a moment of panic. This is the ego screaming, "You've given up, we're out of control." But you breathe through the panic, and as you drift, you look up. For the first time, you see the brilliant blue of the sky. You feel the warmth of the sun. You hear the symphony of the forest on the riverbank. You feel the immense, effortless power of the river now carrying you, supporting you. You have not given up. You have aligned yourself with a force infinitely greater than your own muscular effort. This is surrender. You realize the river was never your enemy. You realize it was always flowing toward the ocean, which was your true destination all along. This is the very practice we must bring to our inner world. When a powerful emotion arrives, a great wave of grief, a burning current of anger, the body contracts. The mind immediately grabs the oars and begins to row frantically against it. We distract ourselves with work or entertainment. We numb ourselves with food or substances. We suppress the feeling, pushing it down, pretending it isn't there. All of this is a violent resistance to what is. Surrender is the act of dropping the oars. It is the choice to allow the physical sensation of the emotion to exist in your body without fighting it. It means breathing into the knot in your stomach instead of tightening around it. It means feeling the hollowness in your chest and allowing it to be there, as if you are creating a space of loving acceptance around it. You become the riverbank that allows the river to flow. You do not become the flood, you simply allow the flood to pass. There is a universal law at play here. What you resist persists. It is the very act of fighting a feeling that locks it into your system. When you fight sadness, you don't overcome it, you prolong it, turning it into a chronic, low-grade depression. When you surrender to the wave of sadness, when you allow yourself to feel its energy fully and physically without resistance, it moves through you. It completes its cycle. It washes you clean, and then, like any wave, it recedes. This is not weakness. This is the source of unshakable strength. The person fighting the river is exhausted, fragile, and terrified. The person who has surrendered to the flow has the full, inexhaustible power of the river as their own. They are not weak, they are formidable. When you stop wasting your life force on the inner war, on resisting reality, all of that energy becomes available to you. It is from this place of surrender, of deep acceptance of the now, that wise action arises. You are not passive, you are powerfully present. You let the river carry you, and then you use your oar not to fight the current, but to deftly steer around a rock. You accept the reality of the storm, and then you wisely take action to secure the sails. This is the difference between panicked reaction and inspired response. Surrender always comes first. It is the ultimate act of faith. Faith in your body's wisdom, faith in your heart's resilience, faith in the intelligence of the universe. It is the profound realization that you do not have to hold the world together with the force of your own tension. You can let go. You can trust. You can allow life to support you. This is the shift from being a warrior against life to being a dancer with life. And when you have ceased the inner war, when you have laid down your arms and chosen to move with the great river, a new kind of action becomes possible. It is not the frantic, fearful action of the ego, but the graceful, powerful, inspired action that arises from the still point of your own surrendered being. You have laid down the oars. You have surrendered to the great, intelligent, and benevolent current of life, trusting it to carry you toward your highest good. In this surrender, you have not become weak. You have merged with a strength that is unimaginable to the struggling ego. A profound peace begins to permeate your being as the inner war ceases. But from this newfound peace, a question naturally arises. If I am no longer fighting, if I am no longer forcing my will upon the world, then what do I do? How do I live? How do I create, build, and participate in the dance of life? The answer lies in discovering a new source of action, a new engine for doing. We must now learn to distinguish between the frantic motion of the unquiet mind and the graceful, potent action that arises from the still point of your own being. Our world is obsessed with a particular kind of action. We have given it many names: the hustle, the grind, the struggle. It is the gospel of effort, the religion of more. It is action born from a fundamental belief in scarcity. It operates from the premise that you are not enough, that there is not enough, and that you must therefore strive, grasp, and claw your way to a future state of security and validation that is always just beyond your reach. This is action from the realm of the ego. Its fuel is fear, fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of being seen as lazy or insignificant, fear of not having enough. This fear-based energy has a distinct quality in the body. It feels like tension. It is the clenched jaw as you push through exhaustion to meet a deadline. It is the tight shoulders as you carry the weight of expectation. It is the shallow, rapid breathing of a nervous system on high alert. It feels like you are constantly pushing a giant boulder up a steep hill. The mindset of this realm is one of force. I have to make this happen, it says. It's all up to me. The focus is obsessively fixed on the outcome, the promotion, the sale, the recognition. And because the focus is always on a future destination, the present moment, the journey itself, is reduced to a mere stepping stone, a necessary evil to be endured. You miss the beauty of the path because your eyes are fixated on a peak you may never even reach. The great tragedy of this mode of action is its hollowness. Even when the goal is achieved, the feeling of satisfaction is fleeting, quickly replaced by the next mountain to climb, the next deficit to overcome. It leads, inevitably, to burnout, to resentment, and to a life lived in a state of perpetual, low-grade anxiety. You have built a house, but you were so consumed by the frantic energy of construction that you forgot to live in it. But there is another way. There is another world of action, available to you in every moment. This is action from a place of being. It is inspired action. It is flow. It is what the ancient sages called Wu Wei, or effortless effort. It arises not from a place of lack, but from a place of wholeness. Its source is the stillness you have cultivated, the surrender you have practiced. Its fuel is trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the process, trust in the benevolent intelligence of the universe. The energy of inspired action feels completely different in the body. It is light, it is joyful, it is calm and centered, yet powerfully focused. It doesn't feel like pushing a boulder, it feels like being gently and persistently pulled by an invisible current. The energy does not feel like it is being drained from you, but rather that it is flowing through you. You become a vessel, a channel for a creative impulse that is larger than your small personal self. The mindset of this realm is one of allowing. I am allowing this to unfold through me, it whispers. The focus is not on the outcome, but on the profound joy found in the action itself. The process becomes the destination. The journey is the reward. And the paradox is that by releasing the desperate attachment to a specific result, you open the door for outcomes far more magnificent and synchronous than your limited ego could ever have conceived. This is action that nourishes, that energizes, that creates a life of grace, wonder, and deep fulfillment. To understand the difference, let us call upon the image of the archer. First, imagine an archer who operates from the world of scarcity. He steps up to the line, his mind racing. His thoughts are a chaotic storm. I must hit the bullseye. Everyone is watching me. If I miss, I am a failure. My whole reputation is on the line. This storm of thought creates a storm in his body. His hands tremble. His heart pounds. His breathing is a shallow gasp. His focus is not on the target, but on the fear of missing the target. He is identified with the outcome. He pulls back the bowstring with brute, tense force, his muscles straining against his own anxiety. His release is a jerky, desperate act. The arrow flies, but it wobbles in the air, a physical manifestation of his own inner turbulence. It misses the mark. He is consumed by frustration and shame, which only adds more fuel to his next fearful attempt. This is the archer of the ego. This is the hustle. Now, imagine another archer, the Zen archer. She steps up to the line, and she is an embodiment of stillness. Her first action is non-action. She simply stands, feeling the ground beneath her feet, feeling the air on her skin. She takes a single deep, conscious breath, and in that breath, she connects to the silent, spacious sky of her own awareness. Her mind is not empty in a forced way. It is simply quiet, like a calm lake. She is not thinking about hitting the target. In a way, she has become the target. She has become the bow. She has become the arrow. There is no separation. She raises the bow gracefully. As she pulls back the string, there is no strain. It feels as if the universe itself is drawing the bow through her. Her focus is absolute, yet completely relaxed. It is on the feeling of the string, the curve of the bow, the singular point of the target. Her entire being is condensed into this one perfect present moment. Her release is not a doing, but a letting go. It is an act of surrender. The arrow leaps forward, flying silent and true, a perfect extension of her stillness. It strikes the center of the target. But for the Zen archer, hitting the bullseye is almost secondary. It is simply the natural consequence of an action that was born from perfect alignment. The true reward was the experience of that stillness, that flow, that perfect union with the present moment. This is action from being. You have within you both of these archers. The path of emotional intelligence is learning to recognize which one is holding the bow. How do you cultivate the Zen archer within? It begins with developing the sensitivity to feel the energetic difference. Take a moment. Think of a task in your life that you feel you have to do, a chore that feels heavy. As you think of it, notice the sensations in your body. Feel the subtle bracing, the sigh of resistance, the feeling of weight. This is the energy of scarcity. Acknowledge it without judgment. Now, let that go. Think of something you truly love to do. An activity that makes you lose all track of time. A hobby, a conversation with a dear friend, a walk in nature. As you bring this to mind, feel the shift in your body. Notice the lightness, the warmth, the feeling of openness or excitement. This is the energy of being. The more you practice noticing this difference, the more you will be able to consciously choose which energy to act from. The most practical tool for shifting from scarcity to being is the power of the pause. The Zen archer's power is born from the stillness before the shot. Before you begin a task, before you make a phone call, before you send that important email, pause. Take one single conscious breath. Do not just inhale air. Inhale presence. Feel your inner body, the subtle aliveness in your hands and feet. Connect with that still point within you. This simple act, repeated throughout your day, is revolutionary. It is like drawing the bow from a place of stillness every single time. It transforms mundane doing into a practice of being. From this place, you also learn to honor the wisdom of non-action. The ego believes that being busy is being productive. The soul knows that sometimes the most powerful and productive action is to wait, to sit in the stillness and wait for the true intuitive impulse to arise. It is the difference between ripping open a flower bud to force it to bloom and having the patience to watch it unfurl in its own perfect time. A forced action creates ripples of resistance. An action that arises from the clear impulse of stillness is supported by the entire universe. Start this practice in the small moments of your life. Do not worry about your biggest career decisions or relationship choices at first. Bring this quality of being to how you wash the dishes. Can you feel the warmth of the water, the texture of the soap, without your mind being 1,000 miles away? Bring it to the act of walking. Can you feel the contact of your feet on the earth with each step? By bringing presence to these simple acts, you are training yourself to be the Zen archer. You are building the muscle of inspired action. You are learning that your effectiveness in the world, your power to create and to love, does not come from more hustle, but from more stillness. It does not come from more effort, but from more alignment. It is the great paradox of a conscious life. The less you struggle, the more you achieve. The more you surrender, the more powerful you become. The still point is not a void. It is the fertile emptiness from which all true and beautiful action is born. To consistently act from this place of profound trust, however, requires a deep inner clearing. We must be willing to look at what fuels the anxious archer in the first place. For it is the unhealed pain in our own history, the ghosts in our own machine, that create the desperate need to control, to strive, and to prove our worth through doing. To truly embody the Zen archer, we must first be willing to become the alchemist. We must learn the sacred art of turning the lead of our old wounds into the gold of our present wisdom. You have learned to act from the still point. to draw your bow from a place of deep, resonant being rather than from the frantic energy of the ego. But to abide in this stillness, to make it our home rather than just a place we visit, we must have the courage to descend into the cellars of our own psyche. We must face the very things that fuel the anxious archer. For the desperate need to hustle, to control, and to prove ourselves is not born in a vacuum. It is born from our unhealed pain. It is the frantic activity of a fragmented self, trying to outrun the ghosts of its own past. To become truly whole, to act consistently from a place of unshakable peace, we must turn and face these ghosts. But we will not face them as enemies. We will face them as an alchemist, for we are about to enter the sacred practice of transmuting the lead of our deepest wounds into the pure gold of wisdom. In the hidden basement of every human soul, there lies what the great sage of the mind, Carl Jung, called the shadow. The shadow is the repository of every part of ourselves that we have disowned. It is the collection of all the traits and feelings we were taught were unacceptable, unlovable, or shameful. It is our raw anger, our deep vulnerability, our wild creativity, our so-called neediness, our profound fear. As children, in order to receive love and ensure our survival, we learned which parts of our authentic self were welcome and which were not. The unwelcome parts were not destroyed, they were exiled. We packed them into a bag, locked it, and cast it into the darkness of our unconscious. But exiled things do not cease to exist. They gather strength in the darkness. They form a kind of shadow government, influencing our decisions, sabotaging our happiness, and projecting themselves onto the outside world. When you have a disproportionately intense and negative reaction to someone, when you feel a surge of irrational judgment or rage, you are often seeing a reflection of your own exiled shadow. It is these disowned parts, crying out for attention, that fuel the frantic energy of the ego. They are the source of the feeling of being an imposter, of not being whole. The great work of a conscious life is not to defeat this shadow, but to turn on the light. It is a sacred process of reunion. Imagine your consciousness, your inner world, is an alchemist's laboratory. For years, you have treated it like a pristine drawing room, desperately trying to keep it clean and tidy, terrified of any mess. But its true purpose is to be a workshop, a place of transformation. And you, as the silent watcher, as spacious awareness, you are the alchemist. The raw materials for your great work, what the alchemists called the prima materia or base matter, are the very things you have tried to throw away. It is your pain. It is your oldest and most heartbreaking memories. It is your shame. It is your deepest feelings of inadequacy and fear. We look upon these things as toxic waste, as worthless lead, something to be buried deep in the earth. But the true alchemist does not see lead as worthless. The alchemist sees lead and knows, with absolute certainty, that it contains the potential for gold. Your pain is not a punishment. Your trauma is not a sign that you are broken. They are your prima materia. They are the sacred raw ingredients for your own enlightenment. The transmutation of this lead into gold is the magnum opus, the great work of your life. And what is this gold? The gold is compassion, born from having held your own suffering with love. It is wisdom, born from the lessons your pain came to teach you. It is authenticity, born from reclaiming the parts of yourself you once hid. And it is true, unshakable inner strength, forged in the fires of your deepest healing. This alchemical process is not violent, it is one of loving attention. The first step is recognition. It is the willingness to see the base metal for what it is. This often begins by noticing your projections. When you find yourself pointing a finger at someone in harsh judgment, the alchemist's practice is to gently turn that finger back toward yourself and ask with genuine curiosity, what is it in this person that is also in me, that I have condemned to the cellar? This is not about blame, but about reclaiming your own energy. You begin to see how the ghosts in your own basement have been pulling the strings of your perceptions. The second step is acceptance. This is the courageous act of bringing the base metal into your laboratory. It means when a wave of old grief or shame arises, you no longer run, you turn toward it. You use the practice of surrender that you have cultivated. You allow the physical sensations of the feeling to be present in your body. You are not becoming the feeling, you are the alchemist, calmly and safely holding the container in which the volatile substance can exist. You are the sky, allowing the dark cloud to be there, knowing it cannot harm you. The third and most crucial step is the application of the alchemical fire. What is this fire that can transmute lead into gold? It is not aggression, it is not analysis, it is not trying to fix the pain. The fire is unconditional, loving presence. It is the light of your own conscious awareness. You hold the painful memory, the feeling of shame, the knot of fear in your awareness, and you bathe it in warmth. You bring a quality of profound kindness to it. You might silently say to this wounded part of yourself, I see you, I feel you. I am sorry you were exiled. You are welcome here now. You are safe with me. You are, in essence, reparenting the lost children of your own psyche. You are bringing the warmth of your love to the frozen, forgotten places within you. You do not do this to make the feeling go away. The paradox is that you do it to let the feeling finally be, and in being fully seen, felt, and held in love, its very nature begins to change. This leads to the final stage, integration. As the lead is heated in the fire of your loving awareness, it softens, it transforms, a new substance is born. You look at an old memory of being abandoned, and after holding it in the alchemical fire, you still feel the sadness, but now it is mixed with a profound compassion for the child who endured it. The lead of that pain has been transmuted into the gold of empathy. You look at a part of you that felt weak and needy, and instead of shame, you feel a tenderness, and you integrate its message, which may be a need for softer, more gentle ways of being in the world. Its weakness becomes the gold of balanced wisdom. You are recollecting the fragmented pieces of your soul. This is the meaning of healing to make whole. It is like the beautiful Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with lacquer mixed with powdered gold. The philosophy is that the piece is more beautiful and valuable for having been broken. The cracks are not something to hide. They are part of the object's history, and they are highlighted with gold. Your wounds, when held with this alchemical love, become your golden seams. They become the source of your greatest beauty, your deepest character, and your most profound strength. This is not a work to be completed in a weekend. It is the gentle, ongoing practice of a lifetime. But it is the most worthy work you will ever do. It is the path to true authenticity, for when you are no longer afraid of your own darkness, you can stand in the world in your full, integrated light. It is the path to deep compassion, for when you have journeyed into your own underworld, you look upon the struggles of others not with judgment, but with the recognition of a fellow traveler. You see their pain, and you know you are looking at the same raw material that exists in you. The alchemist does not fear the lead, they honor it as the promise of gold. As you engage in this sacred work, as you bring your lost parts home, a startling and liberating truth begins to dawn. You realize that your worth was never actually in question. You were not transforming from something worthless into something valuable. You were gold all along, merely covered in the dust and grime of forgotten wounds. And this leads us to confront the most pervasive and damaging illusion of the human ego, the fallacy of worthiness itself. Through the sacred fire of your own loving awareness, you have begun the great alchemical work. You have started the courageous journey of turning toward your pain, holding it not as an enemy, but as the raw material for your own becoming. In this process, as you reclaim the exiled parts of your soul, and integrate the lessons of your wounds, a quiet, earth-shattering realization begins to dawn. It is the recognition that the entire premise of your struggle has been based on a lie. You were not base metal striving to become gold. You were gold all along, convinced you were lead. This brings us face to face with the most pervasive and toxic illusion ever conceived by the human ego, the phantom that has driven so much of our striving and our suffering, the fallacy of worthiness. From our first breath, we are inducted into a game. It is a game we never consciously agreed to play, yet its rules dictate the course of our lives. It is the worthiness game. The rules are simple and cruel. Your value as a being is not inherent. It is conditional. It must be earned. You earn it through good grades, through achievements, through being polite and compliant. You earn it by having the right job, the right body, the right partner. You earn it by being productive, by being helpful, by being seen as successful in the eyes of others. The score is kept by a relentless inner critic, the internalized voice of every parent, teacher, and societal message that ever told you that you had to be more or different to be loved. This inner critic is the gatekeeper of worthiness, and it is a master of a game that is rigged for you to lose. When you are poor, it tells you that you will be worthy when you are wealthy. When you become wealthy, it tells you that you are not spiritually evolved. When you strive for spiritual evolution, it tells you that you are neglecting your worldly duties. It constantly moves the goalposts. Once you are healed, it whispers, then you will be worthy. Once you find a partner, then you will be worthy. Once you finally fix that flaw in your character, then you will be enough. It is a perpetually receding horizon, a hamster wheel powered by your own fear of inadequacy. It is the engine of the hustle, the fuel for the anxious archer. It is the greatest source of exhaustion known to humankind because the chase is endless and the prize is a mirage. Today, right now, in this moment, we are stopping the game. We are stepping off the wheel. We are going to expose this fallacy for the profound and damaging lie that it is, using a simple, unshakable truth. Imagine a diamond forged deep in the heart of the earth over millions of years. It is a thing of immense, inherent value, a unique crystallization of light and pressure and time. Now, imagine this diamond falls from a miner's hand and lands in a puddle of thick, dark mud. The mud covers the diamond completely. Its facets are obscured. Its brilliance is hidden. To an uninformed observer, it might look like a worthless stone. But has the diamond's value changed? Has the mud contaminated its essential, indestructible nature? Of course not. A diamond is a diamond, whether it lies in the mud or sits on the velvet cushion of a queen's crown. Its worth is intrinsic. It is absolute. It is not dependent on its circumstances or its appearance. You are this diamond, your true self, your core of being, your consciousness is a thing of absolute, inherent, and immeasurable worth. The mud is your conditioning. It is the collection of painful memories, limiting beliefs, self-judgments, and the stories you were told about your own inadequacy. It is the voice of the inner critic. We have made a fundamental error. We have mistaken the mud for the diamond. We have believed the story that we are the mud, and have spent our entire lives trying to improve ourselves, to scrape away our flaws, in a desperate attempt to become worthy. But you cannot become what you already are. The work is not to improve the diamond. The work is simply to wash away the mud of false perception so that the diamond's own innate light can shine. Let this truth land in you, not as a pleasant idea, but as a foundational reality. Your worth is not negotiable. It is not up for debate. It is not something you build or earn, and therefore it is not something that can be diminished or lost. It was sealed into your very existence the moment you were conceived. Your breath is your proof of worthiness. The beating of your heart is your certificate of value. You do not need to justify your existence. You do not need to earn your place on this planet. You are a unique and unrepeatable expression of the universe, a vital note in the cosmic symphony. To believe you are unworthy is for a wave to believe it is unworthy of the ocean. It is a perceptual impossibility. That voice in your head, the one that is even now perhaps arguing with these words, the one that is listing all the reasons why you are the exception to this rule, all the evidence of your failures and flaws. Let us see that voice for what it is. It is a ghost. It is a recording playing on a loop. It is an echo of old pain, a survival strategy that you may have needed when you were small and powerless, but which you have now outgrown. It is not the voice of truth. The voice of truth does not speak in judgments and comparisons. It speaks in the quiet, steady rhythm of your own heart. It resides in the silent, spacious awareness that is listening to these words right now. I invite you to try on this truth just for a moment. Take a breath, and for the space of this breath, allow yourself to fully accept the possibility that you are, right now, in this moment, completely and utterly enough, exactly as you are. With your messy life, your imperfect body, your unfinished projects, your unhealed wounds, you are worthy. Not will be worthy, not could be worthy, are worthy. Feel the resonance of that in your body. What happens when you release the exhausting burden of having to prove yourself? There is a softening, a release, a great, peaceful exhale. This is the feeling of coming home. This is the peace that lies on the other side of the worthiness game. When you begin to live from this place of innate enoughness, your entire orientation to life changes. You are liberated. You are freed from the desperate need for external validation. You can finally take off the masks you have been wearing and allow your authentic self to be seen. You can make mistakes without them threatening your core sense of self. Your actions are transformed. You no longer create in order to get applause. You create for the sheer joy of the creative impulse moving through you. You no longer work to prove your value. You work as an expression of the value that you know you already are. You no longer love in order to be completed by another. You love to share the wholeness that you have discovered within. Criticism, from yourself or from others, loses its venomous sting. When you know you are the diamond, another person's opinion that you are mud is simply noted as a curious, mistaken observation. It cannot touch you. It cannot diminish the unshakable reality of your being. This is the ultimate liberation. It is the foundation upon which an unshakable emotional intelligence is built. It is the prerequisite for all deep and lasting peace. You are not a project to be fixed. You are a reality to be discovered. The alchemical work of healing your wounds is not undertaken to make you worthy. It is undertaken to dissolve the lies that have prevented you from seeing the worthiness that has been your birthright all along. You are the diamond. You are the gold. You are enough. Feel that truth settle into your bones, into your very cells. Let it be the new foundation upon which you build your life. And when you know, in the core of your being, that you are a sovereign space of immense and inherent value, you naturally begin to treat that space with the reverence it deserves. You learn to tend to its borders, not from a place of fear, but from a place of profound self-respect. And this leads us directly to the crucial and empowering practice of establishing your energetic boundaries. You have stood in the light of the profound realization that you are, and have always been, enough. You are the diamond, inherently precious, your worth absolute and non-negotiable. This is not a concept to be understood, but a reality to be embodied. And the first, most tangible expression of embodying this self-worth is learning to treat your inner world as the sacred ground that it is. A diamond is not left out in the marketplace to be trampled and sullied. It is placed in a sanctuary. You, too, must build this sanctuary. This is the work of creating and maintaining your energetic boundaries. The word boundary is often met with resistance. It has been mistakenly associated with selfishness, with coldness, with building walls to push people away. We fear that if we set a boundary, we will be seen as unkind, that we will cause conflict, that we will risk abandonment. This fear is a remnant of the worthiness game, the belief that we must be endlessly available and compliant in order to be loved. But we must redefine this crucial concept from the perspective of the soul, not the ego. A boundary is not a wall of rejection. It is the loving and luminous edge of your own sacred space. It is a clear and honest declaration to yourself and to the world of what you have the capacity for. Boundaries do not create separation, they create clarity. They make relationships safer, not more distant. When you have clear boundaries, your yes is a true and wholehearted yes, and your no is a clean and respectful no. There is no resentment, no hidden agenda, no passive aggression. You become a clear, coherent, and trustworthy presence in the world. Creating boundaries is the ultimate act of taking responsibility for your own energy and your own peace. Imagine your inner world, your consciousness, your emotional well-being is a vast and beautiful secret garden. Within this garden grow the most delicate flowers of your joy, the strong trees of your wisdom, and the quiet streams of your peace. You are the sole keeper of this garden. It is your sanctuary. For many years, you may have lived with no fence around this garden. The gate has been left wide open. Anyone could wander in at any time. People have come in and trampled your flowers with their carelessness. They have left the trash of their own negativity and unprocessed pain on your carefully tended lawn. They have picked your fruits without asking, draining you of your energy and leaving you depleted. A garden without a fence cannot flourish. It becomes a public thoroughfare, exhausted and barren. An energetic boundary is the fence you build around your sacred garden, and this fence has a gate to which only you have the key. It is not an impenetrable fortress designed to keep everyone out. It is a discerning entrance. You, as the conscious gatekeeper, decide who to invite in. You decide how long they can stay. You decide which parts of the garden they are allowed to visit. And you have the absolute right to ask anyone to leave who is not treating your sacred space with respect. Before you can tend to the gate, you must first become aware of the perimeter of your garden. You must develop a sensitivity to your own energy field. For too long, many of us, especially those who are naturally empathetic, have lived in a state of energetic porousness. We are like sponges, unconsciously absorbing the moods, anxieties, and dramas of our families, our workplaces, and the world at large. We walk out of a room feeling angry or sad, and are not even sure if the feeling is our own. This is profoundly exhausting. To counter this, you must begin to use your body compass, the somatic intelligence we have already explored. Start to notice, with gentle curiosity, how your body responds to different environments and interactions. When you walk into your office, does your body subtly contract, your shoulders tightening, as if bracing for impact? Or does it feel neutral and calm? When you are on the phone with a particular friend, do you feel uplifted and energized after, or do you feel drained, heavy, as if you have taken on their burdens? This is not a judgment of your office or your friend. It is pure information. It is your body telling you where your energetic fence is weak or non-existent. It is showing you where your life force is leaking. The constant influx of news, the endless scroll of social media that fosters comparison and anxiety, the family member who only communicates through passive-aggressive jabs, these are all potential breaches in your fence. Once you become aware of where your energy is being compromised, you can begin the practice of consciously tending to the gate. This involves learning to use the most powerful and sacred word of self-respect, the word no. We have been taught that no is a word of rejection, We must reclaim it as a word of profound self-affirmation. Every time you say a clean, honest no to something that is not aligned with your well-being, you are saying a powerful yes to your own sacred garden. You are saying, my peace matters. My energy is valuable. I am worthy of protection. The power of a no lies in the energy behind it. A no that is born of anger, fear, or resentment will create conflict. It is a wall, not a gate. But a no that is born from the calm, centered place of knowing your own worth is clean, clear, and powerful. It is delivered not with apology, but with quiet authority. It might sound like, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I don't have the capacity for that right now." It might sound like, "I love you, but I am not available to discuss this particular topic with you." It might be as simple as choosing not to answer the phone, not to engage in gossip, or to unfollow an account that makes you feel bad. It is a conscious choice to not allow poison into your garden. Be prepared when you first begin to build your fence and operate your gate for some discomfort. The people in your life who were used to having unrestricted access to your energy may be surprised or even resistant. They may call you selfish. This is a normal part of the process. It is the turbulence that occurs when you change the unspoken rules of a dynamic. Stay in the calm center of your own knowing. Their reaction is their own work to do. Your work is to honor your sanctuary. The discomfort you feel is also normal. It is the feeling of a new muscle being exercised. It will pass, and what will replace it is a profound sense of security and self-trust. When you consistently honor your energetic boundaries, your life will begin to transform. You will have more energy, more vitality, because you are no longer plugging your life force into countless draining outlets. Your relationships will become healthier and more authentic, based on conscious choice rather than unconscious obligation. And most importantly, your inner garden will begin to flourish. Safe from intrusion, your joy will have space to blossom. Your creativity will have quiet soil to take root. Your peace will deepen into an unshakable inner reality. Your inner world will become what it was always meant to be, a sanctuary of restoration and beauty to which you can return at any time. You have recognized your inherent worth. You have built the sacred fence to protect it. You have taken responsibility for your own energy, your own peace, your own sacred ground. Now that your garden is protected, now that you have created a safe and consecrated space, the real joy of gardening can begin. You can now consciously choose what you wish to cultivate within these protected walls. And the first, most essential, and most beautiful flower to plant in the heart of this sanctuary is the flower of radical compassion, starting, as it always must, with yourself. You stand now within the protected borders of your own sacred garden. The fence of your boundaries is in place, strong and clear, built not from fear but from a deep and abiding self-respect. The ground has been consecrated by the knowledge of your own inherent worth. The space is safe, the soil is ready. Now, the joyous work of cultivation can truly begin. And the first and most essential seed to plant in the heart of this sanctuary, the seed from which all other graces will grow, is the seed of radical compassion. For most of our lives, we have misunderstood the nature of compassion. We have been taught that it is a resource to be directed outward, a virtue demonstrated by our selfless service to others. We have been told that to be good is to give, often until we are running on empty. This model of compassion, noble as it may seem, is a house built on a foundation of sand. It is the doctrine of the empty cup. You cannot pour for others what you do not first have for yourself. Any attempt to do so is not a true offering. It is a depletion, a slow leakage of your own life force that ultimately leads to resentment and burnout. Often, this external-facing compassion is a subtle strategy of the ego. It is a way to feel worthy, to be seen as a good person, or even a way to avoid the often more challenging work of tending to our own inner garden. It can seem easier to focus on the weeds in someone else's yard than to face the tangled roots of our own suffering. But the spiritual path demands a deeper honesty. It asks us to turn our gaze inward first. It teaches us that true, sustainable, and world-changing compassion always flows from the inside out. You must become a fountain, not a drain. And that begins with offering to yourself the same kindness you would so readily offer to another. This is not self-pity. Self-pity is a state of contraction. It says, "Poor me," and isolates you in your own story of victimhood. This is not self-indulgence, which is often a frantic attempt to escape discomfort. Radical self-compassion is a state of courageous and open-hearted presence. It is the practice of meeting your own suffering, your own failures, and your own imperfections with the same warmth, tenderness, and understanding you would offer to a beloved friend. Imagine for a moment that your dearest friend comes to you in distress. They have made a significant mistake at work, and they are consumed by shame and self-recrimination. They say to you, "I'm such an idiot. I always mess everything up. I am a complete failure." What would you do? Would you agree with them? Would you say, "Yes, you are an idiot. You really should have known better"? Of course not. Your heart would go out to them. You would likely put an arm around them and say, "You are not an idiot. You are human. Everyone makes mistakes." This is a painful experience, but it does not define your worth. I am here for you. Now, consider how you speak to yourself in the very same situation. When you make a mistake, what is the voice that arises? For most of us, it is the voice of the inner critic, the harsh gatekeeper of worthiness. It is that voice that says, "You're so stupid, you always mess up. You are a complete failure." We speak to ourselves with a cruelty we would never dream of inflicting on another. Radical self-compassion is the conscious practice of firing that inner critic and hiring a new inner companion, the compassionate friend. It is learning to turn that warm, kind, and encouraging voice inward. It is choosing, as an act of profound spiritual maturity, to become your own best ally. Or imagine your inner world contains a small child. This child is you, at your most vulnerable, when you feel scared, rejected, or overwhelmed. It is this inner child that has been activated. How would you treat a small crying child? You would not yell at it to get over it. You would not shame it for its tears. You would kneel down to its level, speak in a soft voice, and perhaps offer a gentle embrace to let it know it is safe. This is the quality of attention we must learn to give ourselves. We must become the safe harbor for our own storms. Let us plant this seed of compassion together now, with a simple practice. Find a comfortable position and allow your body to soften. Let your breath be easy and natural. Now, I invite you to bring to mind a situation in your life that is causing you some difficulty, perhaps a stress you are feeling, or a quality in yourself that you judge as a flaw. Choose something that is not overwhelming, but that carries a gentle charge of discomfort. As you hold this situation in your mind, first, simply acknowledge the feeling that arises. Without drama or exaggeration, just notice the sensation of pain. You can say to yourself silently, "This is a moment of suffering. This hurts." This is the practice of mindfulness. You are not ignoring your pain, nor are you consumed by it. You are simply acknowledging its presence. Next, gently remind yourself of the principle of common humanity. Remind yourself that suffering, failure, and imperfection are part of the shared human experience. You can say to yourself, "I am not alone. Others have felt this way." To be human is to be imperfect. This simple reminder breaks the spell of isolation that so often accompanies our pain. It connects you, in your moment of struggle, to the vast family of all beings. Finally, I invite you to place a hand or two over your heart. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Let it be a gesture of genuine kindness. Now, offer yourself some words of compassion, as you would to a dear friend. You might say, silently, "May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I give myself the compassion that I need. May I accept myself completely, just as I am." Breathe with these phrases. You don't have to force a feeling. Just offer the words, plant the seeds, and allow them to land in the soil of your being. You are learning to soothe yourself, to comfort yourself, to become your own sanctuary. When you make this a regular practice, your inner landscape begins to change. The soil becomes more fertile. You build a profound resilience, for instead of shattering when you fail, you have an innate capacity to mend your own heart. You discover that self-compassion is a far more powerful motivator than self-criticism. You begin to make changes in your life, not from a place of fear and self-loathing, but from a place of deep care and a desire for your own well-being. And a miracle occurs. Your own cup begins to fill. It fills with the warmth of your own kindness, until it is so full that it naturally begins to overflow. This overflow is the compassion you have to offer the world. It is pure, it is unconditional, and it is endlessly renewable, for it comes from the infinite well of your own self-love. When you have learned to hold your own pain with tenderness, you can sit with the pain of another without needing to fix them or run away, because you are no longer afraid of the feeling. You simply offer your presence, your calm, full cup, which is the greatest gift of all. You have planted the beautiful, life-giving flower of self-compassion in your protected inner garden. You are learning to be your own beloved. As you tend to this flower, as you learn to meet your own imperfections with this radical kindness, the harsh lens of judgment through which you have viewed yourself begins to soften and dissolve. And as it does, you realize it was the very same lens through which you viewed the world. You begin to see others not as adversaries, competitors, or objects of judgment, but as fellow travelers, each with their own sacred garden, their own hidden wounds, their own silent struggles. This opens the door to understanding the people in your life in a profound new light. As a sacred mirror for your own soul, you stand in your sacred garden, the flower of self-compassion beginning to bloom in its protected soil. You are learning to meet your own humanity with a kindness that heals and restores. As this gentle, loving gaze becomes your new habit of being, a remarkable alchemy begins to occur. The harsh lens of judgment, through which you once viewed your own imperfections, starts to soften, clarify, and dissolve. And in this dissolution, you make a startling discovery. It was the very same lens through which you had been viewing the entire world. As your inner vision clears, your outer perception is transformed. The people in your life, your partners, your family, your colleagues, the stranger on the street, cease to be sources of random frustration or pedestals for blind adoration. They reveal themselves for what they have always truly been: sacred mirrors, perfectly placed to reflect the truth of your own soul. Imagine you are walking through a vast, quiet, and sacred building. This is the Great Hall of Mirrors. It is the curriculum of your life. Every single person you have ever met and will ever meet is one of these mirrors. For our entire lives, most of us have operated under a profound delusion. We have believed we are looking through a series of windows. We look at another person and we see their flaws, their beauty, their anger, their kindness, and we believe we are simply observing an external reality that is separate from us. We judge the view through the window. We get angry at it, we fall in love with it, we try to change it, we try to fix it. We spend our lives polishing, repairing, and shouting at the windows. The Great Awakening, the pivotal shift in consciousness, is the realization that there are no windows, there are only mirrors. Every judgment, every intense emotional reaction, every feeling of profound admiration is not a statement about the other person. It is a direct, unfiltered reflection of your own inner landscape. To engage with your relationships consciously is to stop analyzing the reflection and to turn your gaze with loving curiosity upon the one who is being reflected, yourself. These mirrors reflect in two primary ways. They show you your light and they show you your shadows. Let us first examine the golden mirror, the reflection of your light. Think of a person you deeply admire. Perhaps it is an artist whose creativity seems boundless, a leader whose courage is unshakable, an activist whose compassion is an inspiration, or a friend whose joyful presence can light up a room. When you feel this profound sense of admiration, you are not merely witnessing their magnificence, you are recognizing a resonant frequency within your own soul. That quality which you admire in them already exists as a seed, a dormant potential within you. If the seed of creativity were not in you, the creativity of the artist would not move you so deeply. If the potential for courage were not in you, the bravery of the leader would not stir your own heart. The universe, through this person, is showing you a beautiful reflection of what is ready to awaken within you. It is showing you your own forgotten light. The common reaction of the ego is to place this person on a pedestal and to feel less than in comparison. This creates a sense of separation and longing. The conscious response is to receive the reflection as a gift. It is an invitation. The work is to look at the admired quality and say, "Thank you for showing me what is possible. Thank you for mirroring the part of me that is ready to grow." You then turn your attention to your own sacred garden and begin to consciously water that seed of courage, of creativity, of joy. You celebrate the reflection in the other person not as something separate, but as a hopeful promise of your own becoming. More challenging, and therefore more transformative, is the shadow mirror. These are the people who trigger you. A trigger is not a mild annoyance. It is a disproportionately intense emotional reaction. It is the surge of rage you feel when someone cuts you off in traffic. It is the wave of intense irritation that washes over you when a colleague seems lazy or incompetent. It is the deep-seated judgment that arises when you perceive someone as arrogant, needy, or controlling. The intensity of your reaction is the key. It is a signal from your soul that the issue is not primarily about the other person's behavior. The other person is simply the unwitting actor who has walked on stage and read the line that activates a deep, unhealed wound within you. They are a mirror reflecting back a part of your own shadow that you have disowned and condemned. They are doing you a profound, if unconscious, service. They are pointing with perfect accuracy to the base metal in your alchemical laboratory that is ready to be transmuted into gold. Let us look into some of these shadow mirrors with compassion. Consider the person you perceive as arrogant and attention-seeking. The intensity of your irritation may be a mirror for a part of you that secretly longs to be seen, but which you have suppressed because you were taught it was vain or selfish. Their freedom to take up space highlights your own self-imposed confinement. Or perhaps that mirror is reflecting a past wound, a time when someone's arrogance deeply hurt you, and that unhealed pain is now being projected onto this new person. The work is to withdraw the projection. Instead of focusing your energy outward in blame, "That person is so arrogant," you turn your gaze inward and ask the courageous mirror question, "What is this person showing me about myself? What unhealed part of me is being activated right now?" Now consider the person you judge as weak or needy. Does their vulnerability make you intensely uncomfortable? This is often a mirror for our own disowned dependency. We may have learned early on that to be needy is to be weak, so we built a fortress of fierce independence. When we see neediness in another, it threatens our fortress. It reminds us of the vulnerable, soft parts of ourselves that we have locked away. Their reflection is an invitation to have compassion for your own unmet needs. Or what of the lazy, irresponsible person who fails to meet your expectations? The fire of your frustration may be a mirror for your own inner slave driver, the relentless part of you that believes your worth is conditional on your productivity. Their perceived freedom to rest triggers your own sense of being a prisoner to your to-do list. In every case, the trigger is a gift. It is a map. The person you are blaming is simply the messenger, delivering the map that leads back to your own buried treasure. The practice is to catch yourself in the moment of reaction, to pause, to take a breath instead of lashing out, to feel the hot, sharp energy of the trigger in your body without identifying with it. You are the sky holding the thundercloud. And in that pause, you ask the mirror question, what is this reflecting in me? Then, you can begin the alchemical work. You can offer compassion to the wounded part of yourself that has been activated. You offer understanding to the small child within who was taught that it was not okay to be seen, to be vulnerable, or to rest. This is how you reclaim your power. You cease to be a victim of the actions of others and become a conscious alchemist of your own inner world. Nowhere is this hall of mirrors more intense or more potent than in our intimate relationships. Our partners, our children, our parents, our closest friends, these are our master teachers. They are the high-definition, surround sound mirrors that we cannot easily walk away from. They will, with absolute certainty, reflect both our brightest light and our deepest shadows. The goal of a conscious relationship is not to find a person who never triggers you. Such a person does not exist. The goal is to be with a person with whom you feel safe enough to look in the mirror together. It is to create a shared sanctuary where, when a trigger occurs, you can both pause and say, I am feeling a strong reaction right now. This is my wound being touched, not your fault. Can we look at this together with compassion? A relationship then transforms from a battlefield of blame into a sacred laboratory for healing. Your partner is not the source of your happiness or the cause of your misery. They are simply the clearest and most persistent mirror you have been given, reflecting back to you the contents of your own consciousness. When you truly begin to live from this understanding, the entire architecture of blame collapses. You can no longer hold on to resentment because you realize that the person you resent was merely a mirror for a pain that was already inside you, waiting to be healed. The anger you felt toward them begins to soften into a quiet gratitude for the lesson they brought, however painful the delivery may have been. You see that everyone is walking around in their own hall of mirrors, reacting to their own reflections. This fosters a profound and universal compassion. This realization is the key that unlocks the golden door to one of the most liberating of all spiritual practices. It is the prerequisite for the act of forgiveness, which you will come to see as not a gift you give to another, but the ultimate act of unchaining yourself from the past. Having journeyed through the great hall of mirrors, you have come to see your relationships not as a source of arbitrary pain, but as a sacred curriculum for your own awakening. You understand that the people who trigger you are often reflecting your own unhealed wounds, your own disowned shadows. This realization is the key that unlocks the heaviest gate, the one that has kept you imprisoned in the past. When you see that the source of your prolonged suffering is not what another person did, but your own ongoing reaction to it, the entire architecture of blame and resentment begins to crumble. The anger you have nurtured softens into a quiet understanding, and from these ashes of collapsed blame, you are presented with the opportunity for the most profound act of self-liberation, the practice of forgiveness. Let us first speak of what forgiveness is not, for its opposite, resentment, is a poison that we have been taught to drink. To hold on to resentment is to be chained to a ghost. It is the act of reopening a wound every single day, pouring salt into it, and reliving the moment of injury in a torturous, endless loop. It requires a tremendous amount of your precious life force. You must constantly feed the story, rehearse the grievance, and keep the fire of your indignation burning. This energy, which could be used to create, to love, and to experience joy in the present is instead diverted to the grim task of keeping a dead past alive. It closes your heart, taints your perception of the present, and turns the fertile soil of your soul into a bitter and barren landscape. Imagine you are holding a burning coal in your hand. It is searing your flesh, the pain is excruciating, and the smell of your own suffering fills the air. But your attention is not on your own hand. Your gaze is fixed with furious intensity on the person who, you believe, caused you to pick up this coal. You are consumed with the intention of one day throwing it at them, of making them feel the pain that you feel. But they may be miles away, or they may have forgotten the incident entirely. They go on with their lives, while you stand alone, burning. This is the perfect metaphor for resentment. The person holding the coal is the only one getting burned. To hold a grievance is to drink poison and expect the other person to die. It is a futile act of self-destruction disguised as a righteous quest for justice. Forgiveness, then, is the simple, sane, and powerful act of dropping the coal. It is not something you do for the other person. It is a gift of grace you give to yourself. We must dismantle the misunderstandings that have made forgiveness seem so difficult or even impossible. Forgiveness is not condoning. It is not saying that what happened was okay. Harmful acts are harmful acts. Injustice is injustice. Forgiveness does not erase the truth of what happened. You can forgive someone completely and still choose to never see them again. You can forgive someone and still pursue legal justice. The external action and the internal state are two separate things. Forgiveness is also not forgetting. The memory of the event will likely remain. But forgiveness is the alchemy that neutralizes its emotional charge. It transforms the memory from an open, weeping wound into a healed scar. A scar is a testament to the fact that you were wounded, but also to the fact that you have healed. It no longer hurts to the touch. Most importantly, forgiveness is not a sign of weakness. It is the ultimate act of emotional sovereignty. As long as you are locked in resentment towards someone, you are energetically chained to them. They occupy a piece of your consciousness. They live, rent-free, in the sacred space of your mind. You have given them the power to dictate your emotional state long after the event has passed. To forgive is to say, I am no longer willing to sacrifice my present peace for the battles of the past. I am taking my power back. I am cutting the energetic chain. You no longer have a hold over me. It is a declaration of freedom. It is the choice to value your own peace more than your ego's need to be right. The ego loves a grievance. It feeds on the story of being wronged. The soul, however, craves only peace and wholeness. Forgiveness is the act of aligning with your soul. The process of forgiveness is an internal practice, a sacred ritual you perform within your own heart. It begins not by bypassing your pain, but by honoring it. You must first allow yourself to fully acknowledge the hurt. You look at the wound and say, yes, this was painful, this was unjust, my feelings are valid. You give yourself the compassion that perhaps you never received from another. You allow the sadness or anger to be present as a cloud in your vast sky, without becoming it. Once you have honored your own pain, you then turn your attention to the cost of not forgiving. You consciously feel the heavy, toxic weight of the resentment you have been carrying. You see the burning coal in your hand, and you acknowledge with unflinching honesty that you are the one being harmed by it. From this place of clear seeing, you make a conscious choice. Forgiveness is not a passive feeling that may or may not wash over you one day. It is an active decision made in the present moment. In the quiet of your own heart, you can declare, for the sake of my own peace, for the sake of my own freedom, I choose to release this person from the debt I believe they owe me. I cancel the debt. I drop the coal. I stop drinking the poison. I do this not for them, but for me. You can visualize the energetic chains connecting you to this person or event dissolving into light. You can visualize yourself placing the burning coal gently on the ground and walking away, your hands finally empty and free to receive the gifts of the present. Often, the most difficult person to forgive is ourselves. We hold ourselves hostage for past mistakes, for words we wish we could take back, for actions born of our own fear and unhealed pain. We clutch the burning coal to our own chest. The process here is the same, but it requires an even greater dose of the radical self-compassion you have been cultivating. You must look upon the past version of yourself who made the mistake, not with condemnation, but with understanding. You acknowledge that you were doing the best you could with the level of awareness you had at that time. If you had known better, you would have done better. You wrap that past self in the warmth of your present-day wisdom and compassion. You say to that part of you, "I forgive you." You are released from this burden. You are free. To forgive is to perform the ultimate act of energetic hygiene. It is to consciously clear out the toxic, stagnant energy of the past, to make space for the light of the present. It is the final and most profound way to tend to your sacred garden, pulling up the bitter roots of resentment so that new life can grow. When you have dropped the burning coals, when you have cut the chains that bound you to the grievances of yesterday, your hands are finally empty, your heart is finally light. You are no longer defined by your wounds. You are free. And in this expansive new freedom, you discover that you have arrived fully, perhaps for the first time, in the only place where life ever truly happens, the only place where your power truly resides, the infinite, creative, and peaceful expanse of the present moment. You have walked the sacred path of forgiveness. You have laid down the burning coals of resentment and cut the chains of grievance that bound you to the past. A great weight has been lifted from your shoulders. Your hands, once clenched around old hurts, are now open. Your heart, once guarded and burdened, is now light. You are free. But free for what? Free to go where? This liberation from the prison of the past is not an end in itself. It is the necessary preparation for you to arrive fully in the only place where life is real, where your power exists, and where peace can be found. It is the journey of returning home to the profound and eternal miracle of the present moment. For most of our lives, we have been living as ghosts, haunting the corridors of a time that does not exist. We have lived in a state of self-imposed exile from the now, believing that life is to be found somewhere else. Our minds, in their magnificent but compulsive power, have become restless time travelers, constantly shuttling us between two illusory realms, the past and the future. Let us first look at the past. The past is not what happened. The past is a story you tell yourself now. It is a collection of memories filtered through the lens of your beliefs and emotions that you bundle together to create your identity. I am the person who was hurt. I am the person who succeeded. I am the person who failed. We carry this story, this heavy ghost of who we think we are, on our backs into every new moment. All regret lives here. All guilt lives here. All bitterness lives here. But the past itself has no power. It is gone. It exists only as a thought, an electrical flicker in your brain, happening now. Its only power over you is the power you grant it by giving it your attention, by continuously reanimating its ghost with the energy of your present moment focus. Then there is the other phantom destination, the future. The future is a mental projection, a fabrication of the mind based on the data of the past. It is a shimmering mirage in the desert that you can walk toward forever but never reach. All anxiety lives here. All worry lives here. All stress about what might happen lives here. We live in a perpetual state of becoming, believing that our salvation, our peace, our happiness lies in a future moment that we must strive for. When I get the promotion, then I can relax. When my children are grown, then I will have peace. When I finally heal this issue, then my life can begin. This is the greatest trap the mind has ever set. It ensures that you are never at peace where you are, because you are always mentally striving to be somewhere else. It robs the present moment of its vitality, turning it into a mere means to an end, an obstacle to be overcome on the way to a future that never actually arrives. For when that future moment does come, it does not arrive as the future. It arrives as another present moment, another now. And if your habit is to live in the future, you will simply overlook that now as well, already projecting into the next one. Your mind is a time machine, and you have been its unwitting passenger. It compulsively jumps to the museum of the past, forcing you to stare at old exhibits of failure and regret. Then, just as suddenly, it throws you into the disaster simulator of the future, running endless scenarios of what could go wrong. The result is a profound exhaustion, a sense of being perpetually disoriented. You are here, but you are not really here. You are having a meal, but you are not tasting the food. Your mind is in tomorrow's meeting. You are listening to a piece of music, but you are not hearing the notes. Your mind is replaying a conversation from yesterday. You are walking in nature, but you are not seeing the light on the leaves. You are lost in a fog of worry. You are missing your own life. The practice of presence is not about destroying the time machine. The ability to learn from the past and plan for the future is a useful tool. The practice is about becoming the master of the machine, not its servant. It is about learning to park it, to bring it to a gentle stop, so that you can step out and experience the landscape right where you are. And the way home, the way to gently call the time traveler back from its compulsive journeys, is through the portals of your senses. The first and most immediate portal is your breath. Your breath is your most faithful anchor to the now. You cannot breathe in the past. You cannot breathe in the future. You can only breathe now. I invite you to feel it. Don't just think about it. Feel the physical sensation of this breath. Feel the air as it enters your nostrils, perhaps slightly cool. Follow its path down into your lungs. Feel the gentle expansion of your chest and belly, and then feel the release, the surrender of the outbreath, perhaps slightly warm as it leaves your body. The breath is not something you are doing. It is being done for you by the intelligence of life itself. It is the rhythm of the universe playing through your form. By placing your attention on this simple, profound sensation, you pull your awareness out of the chaotic realm of thought and anchor it in the tangible reality of the present. You don't have to stop your thoughts. Just let them be a background noise, like distant traffic, while the feeling of your breath comes into the foreground. This is the first step home. The second portal is the aliveness of your inner body. Your mind can travel through time, but your body is always, uncompromisingly, in the present moment. Close your eyes for a moment and bring your awareness to your hands. Can you feel a subtle sensation within them without needing to move them? A faint tingling, a vibration, a feeling of warmth or aliveness. This is the energy field of your body. It is the feeling of life itself. Now see if you can feel it in your feet, in your legs, in your arms. This inner aliveness is not a memory. It is not a future goal. It is happening right now. It is your direct, experiential connection to the state of being. Whenever you feel yourself lost in anxiety or regret, you can drop your attention out of your head and into this inner energy field. It is an immediate anchor that dissolves the unreality of psychological time and brings you back to the truth of your own presence. The third portal has many gates, the gates of your senses. You can use any of them to step out of the time machine and into reality. Take the gate of hearing. Stop for a moment and just listen. Listen to the soundscape around you without labeling anything. Don't think car, bird, refrigerator. Instead, hear the raw vibrations. Hear the high-pitched sounds, the low rumbles. Notice the space, the silence. in which all these sounds are happening? Can you listen to the silence itself, the canvas upon which the sounds are painted? This pulls you instantly into the now. Or use the gate of sight. Pick up a simple object near you, a flower, a stone, a cup. Look at it as if you have never seen it before. Let go of the mental label cup. See its shape, its color, its texture, the way the light reflects off its surface. See its isness, its silent, profound being. In that moment of pure seeing, your mind falls quiet. You are present. You can do this with any sense. Feel the texture of the clothes on your skin. Taste a single raisin as if it were the most complex and fascinating food in the world, exploring its flavor and texture for minutes. Each sensory gate is a doorway out of the prison of thought and into the freedom of the present moment. When you practice returning to these portals, you discover that the now is not what you thought it was. It is not just a fleeting moment on a timeline. It is the vast, timeless dimension in which the timeline of your life unfolds. It is the only point of power you have. You cannot change what happened yesterday. You cannot act tomorrow. You can only think, speak, and act in the eternal space of this present moment. It is where all healing happens, where all creativity is born, where all love is felt. To live in the now is not to live in a state of blankness. On the contrary, it is to experience life with a new vibrancy and aliveness. Colors seem brighter, sounds sharper, experiences richer, because you are no longer seeing them through the cloudy filter of past and future. You are meeting life directly. This is the peace you have been seeking. The escape from pain is not found by running to the past or the future. It is found by diving so deeply into the present that you find the still, quiet center that is untouched by either. As you practice returning home to the now, anchoring yourself in the breath, the body, and the senses, you begin to perceive a new dimension to reality. Beneath the surface activity of the present moment, beneath the sounds, beneath the sensations, beneath the very aliveness you feel, there is a profound stillness. It is not an empty stillness. It is a vibrant, intelligent, and deeply peaceful stillness. It is the silent source from which all the sounds and forms of life arise. This is the wisdom of silence, the fertile ground of being from which all true answers and inspired actions are born. It is to this sacred silence that we now turn our attention. You have arrived in the now. You have discovered that by anchoring your awareness in the breath, the body, and the senses, you can step out of the frantic time machine of the mind and into the vibrant, living reality of the present moment. This is a profound homecoming, but as you spend more time in this state of presence, you begin to perceive a deeper dimension. Beneath the hum of aliveness, beneath the dance of sensory input, beneath the very fabric of the present moment, there is a vast, profound, and intelligent stillness. It is the silence from which all sounds are born and to which they all return. This is not an empty silence. It is not a void. It is the source. It is the fertile ground of being, and it is here, in the wisdom of silence, that the answers you have been seeking are waiting for you. Our modern world is terrified of silence. We have come to equate silence with emptiness, with awkwardness, with a lack of stimulation. It is a vacuum that we rush to fill with noise, with chatter, with music, with the endless scrolling through other people's thoughts, and most of all, with the ceaseless, compulsive chatter of our own minds. We believe that solutions are found in more thinking, that answers are found in more information, that connection is found in more words. The ego, the unquiet mind, is terrified of silence because in true silence, the ego has nothing to do. It has no problems to solve, no stories to spin, no identity to defend. In true silence, the ego begins to dissolve, and this feels like a death to the part of us that is addicted to noise and struggle. But this death is the doorway to a much deeper life. The silence we fear is not empty. It is unimaginably full. It is the womb of creation. Consider a piece of music that moves you to your very core. Is the beauty of the music only in the notes themselves? If a composer were to write a piece with no gaps, no rests, no pauses, just a relentless, unbroken stream of notes, it would not be music. It would be an unbearable noise. The profound beauty, the emotion, the very soul of the music is born from the silence between the notes. The rhythm, the pacing, the rests, these are what give the notes their context, their meaning, and their power to stir the heart. The silence is not the absence of music. It is an integral part of the music itself. Think of a deep conversation with a loved one. The most meaningful moments are often not when you are both talking, but in the shared, comfortable silence where understanding dawns, where a look conveys more than 1,000 words could. The silence creates the space for true connection to occur. It is the same with the universe itself. We are awestruck by the sight of a starry night sky. But what makes the stars so breathtakingly beautiful? It is the vast, silent, infinite blackness of space that provides the canvas upon which their light can be seen. Without the profound silence of space, the starlight would be invisible. So it is with your own mind. The relentless stream of thoughts, one after another, is just noise. It is the mental equivalent of an unbearable sound. We have been taught to believe that if we just think harder, analyze more, and spin our mental wheels faster, we will arrive at the solution to our problems. But this usually only digs us deeper into the trenches of anxiety and confusion. The answers you seek, the true insights, the flashes of creative genius do not arise from the noise of thinking. They arise from the gap of silence between the thoughts. The universe whispers its secrets. It does not shout them over the clamor of your compulsive mind. The practice, then, is to learn how to listen to the whisper. It is to learn to value the gaps more than the thoughts. When you have a question or a problem, the work is not to worry it to death with your mind. The work is to pose the question, to release it to the greater intelligence of the universe or to your own soul. And then you learn to be still. You learn to listen. The answer will not come when you are straining for it. It will come in a moment of grace, when your mind has relaxed its grip while you are on a quiet walk, or in the shower, or in the peaceful moments just before you fall asleep. It will arise not as a complex calculation, but as a quiet, simple, clear knowing, a feeling of rightness, an intuition that feels like peace. Let us practice listening to this silence together, right now. Become aware, for a moment, of the sounds around you. The sound of my voice, perhaps the hum of a machine, a distant noise from outside. Just let these sounds be there. Now, can you shift your attention from the sounds themselves to the silence that is underneath them? The silence that was here before the sound began, and that will be here after the sound ends. It is the ever-present canvas. You don't have to create it. It is always here. Just notice it. Now, turn this same awareness inward. Observe the stream of your thoughts. See them coming and going, like clouds in the sky. Do not try to stop them, but as you watch, you may begin to notice little gaps between the thoughts. A brief pause, a space of no thought that might last only a fraction of a second. This is the opening. This is the doorway. That gap is not a void. It is a moment of pure consciousness, unclouded by thought. It is the silence of your own being. Rest in that gap. Treasure it. The more you notice these gaps, the more they will begin to expand. You are not fighting your mind. You are simply becoming more interested in the silence than in the noise. To abide in this silence is to connect with an intelligence far vaster than your personal, thinking mind. Your mind is limited by what it knows, by its past experiences and its conditioning. The silent intelligence of consciousness is limitless. It has access to a field of infinite potential and creativity. When you learn to be still, you allow this greater intelligence to operate through you. This is why wisdom and peace are synonymous. A wise person is not someone who thinks the most. A wise person is someone who is able to access the stillness beyond thought. The answers that arise from this space have a different quality. They are not frantic or anxious. They are calm, clear, and often profoundly simple. They carry with them a feeling of peace. You learn to distinguish the ego's loud, fear-based demands from the soul's quiet, love-based whispers. This silence is your ultimate sanctuary. It is your truest oracle. It is the home you can return to at any moment to find clarity, rest, and direction. To befriend silence, to learn to sink into it and trust it, is to no longer be at the mercy of the chaotic world or your own unquiet mind. You have found a wellspring of peace within you that can never run dry. When you learn to listen to this silence, you are, in essence, tuning your own instrument. You are aligning your personal energy field with the vast, silent, and harmonious frequency of the cosmos itself. You begin to understand on a cellular level that everything, your thoughts, your emotions, the stillness itself, is a form of energy, a vibration. This realization is the gateway to understanding the universe, not as a collection of separate, solid objects, but as a magnificent, flowing symphony of energy, and your own vital role as a conscious, vibratory being within that great symphony. You have learned to sit in the great, intelligent silence that lies beneath the noise of the mind. In this stillness, you are no longer just an isolated individual. You are connecting with a vaster intelligence, a cosmic awareness. You have begun to tune your personal instrument to the frequency of the universe itself. This tuning process brings you to a fundamental truth, a place where ancient mysticism and modern physics meet and shake hands. It is the understanding that nothing is truly solid. Beneath the illusion of separation and form, the universe is one, unified, dynamic field of energy. Everything is vibration. The chair you are sitting on, your own hand resting in your lap, the very air you are breathing, they all appear solid and separate to your physical eyes. But if you could zoom in with a microscope of impossible power, you would see that these forms dissolve into a shimmering dance of molecules, then atoms, then subatomic particles, which are, in their essence, nothing more than localized vortices of energy vibrating at a specific frequency. The universe is not a collection of things, it is a symphony of frequencies, and you are not a solid object moving through a dead world. You are a complex and beautiful chord in this grand cosmic symphony. This is not just true of your physical body, your thoughts, your beliefs, and most importantly, your emotions are also forms of energy. They are not just abstract psychological events locked inside your skull. They are tangible vibrations that emanate from you and ripple out into the unified field. A thought of judgment has a dense, discordant, low frequency. A thought of gratitude has a light, harmonious, high frequency. You have felt this truth in your own body. The feeling of fear is a low-frequency contraction. The feeling of love is a high-frequency expansion. Your body compass is, in fact, a frequency detector. With this understanding, let us use a new metaphor. See yourself as a magnificent and powerful broadcasting tower. You are, in every moment of your life, transmitting a signal out into the universe. This signal is not composed of words or images. Your signal is the sum total of your vibrational state of being. It is the composite frequency created by your dominant beliefs, your recurring thought patterns, and most potently, your prevailing emotional state. This is your vibrational signature. If your inner world is predominantly characterized by feelings of lack, fear, resentment, and unworthiness, then you are broadcasting on the frequency of lack. If your inner world is cultivated to be a space of peace, love, gratitude, and wholeness, you are broadcasting on the frequency of abundance and well-being. The universe, which is a neutral field of energy, does not judge your broadcast. It does not decide what you deserve or what you are worthy of. It operates under a simple and immutable law, much like the law of magnetism. It impeccably matches your broadcast. Like attracts like. You can only receive the programs, the experiences, the people, and the circumstances that are a vibrational match to the signal you are sending out. This is the true nature of what is popularly known as the law of attraction. It has often been misunderstood as a superficial practice of positive thinking or desperately wanting things. This superficial approach often leads to frustration because the act of desperate wanting is, itself, a powerful broadcast on the frequency of not having. If you are constantly thinking, "I want more money," your dominant vibration is "I lack money," and the universe, in its perfect neutrality, will dutifully bring you more experiences of lacking money. The law is not responding to your words or your wishes. It is responding to your vibration, to the truth of your being in this moment. Therefore, let us call it by a more accurate name, the law of resonance. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. To change what you attract, you must change who you are being. This is the ultimate empowerment. It moves you out of the paradigm of being a victim of a random and chaotic world and into the role of a conscious co-creator of your reality. This is not about blaming yourself for past negative experiences. You cannot be blamed because until now, your broadcast has been largely unconscious, dictated by the inherited programs and unhealed wounds of your past. The point is not to look backward with blame, but to look forward with empowerment. You now have the awareness and the tools to consciously choose your frequency. So how do you do this? How do you become the conscious operator of your own broadcasting tower? You have already learned the most powerful techniques. This is the great synthesis of our journey so far. You change your frequency by choosing to forgive, releasing the dense, low vibrations of resentment and bitterness that have been weighing down your signal. You change your frequency by practicing radical self-compassion, transforming the discordant noise of self-judgment into the harmonious frequency of love. You change your frequency by establishing clear, energetic boundaries, refusing to allow the low vibrations of others to interfere with your own broadcast. Most powerfully, you change your frequency by returning again and again to the present moment. The low frequencies of regret and guilt only exist in the past. The low frequencies of anxiety and worry only exist in the future. The present moment, the state of pure being, is a state of high, clear, peaceful vibration. Every conscious breath you take is an act of frequency modulation. Every time you drop into the aliveness of your inner body, you are raising your vibration. The work, then, is to cultivate the feeling state of the reality you wish to experience. Do you wish to experience more love in your life? Then the work is to become a broadcasting tower of love. This means cultivating self-love, seeing the world through compassionate eyes, and finding things to love and appreciate in your current reality. Right now, you must become the vibration of love to attract experiences that resonate with it. Do you wish to experience more abundance? The work is not to focus on your lack, but to cultivate the feeling of abundance now. This is the power of gratitude. By focusing on what you do have, by feeling genuine appreciation for the simple gifts of your life, you shift your vibration from not enough to more than enough, and the universe will joyfully mirror that state of being back to you. It is a profound shift from seeking it outside to generating it inside. See your life as an energetic feedback loop. Your inner state of being, your frequency, creates your broadcast. Your broadcast is met by the law of resonance, which brings you experiences, people, and situations that are a vibrational match. These experiences then tend to reinforce your inner state, creating a continuous loop. To be an unconscious creator is to be trapped in a negative feedback loop where feelings of lack attract experiences of lack, which in turn create more feelings of lack. To be a conscious creator is to deliberately interrupt this loop. You choose, from within, to cultivate a new frequency, regardless of your current external circumstances. You choose to feel peace, even when the world seems chaotic. You choose to feel gratitude even when things are not perfect. You choose to feel whole even when you have desires. By sustaining this new frequency, you begin to broadcast a new signal, and the universe, by its unfailing law, must begin to send you a new reality that matches it. This is not magic. This is the physics of consciousness. You are a symphony of energy at the heart of a vibrational universe. And the frequency you broadcast, the very music you send out into the world, is determined by one primary factor: the story you are telling yourself about who you are. To become the master of your vibration, you must first become the conscious author of your inner narrative. You have come to understand yourself as a broadcasting tower, sending out a signal of energy that is impeccably matched by the universe around you. You have felt the difference between the low frequency of fear and the high frequency of love. But this raises a vital question: what determines the signal you broadcast? The answer is both simple and profoundly life-altering. Your frequency is the direct result of the story you are telling yourself. You do not live in an objective reality. You live inside the story you have constructed about reality. The universe does not respond to what is happening. It responds to the meaning you assign to what is happening. It responds to your narrative. Therefore, to become the master of your frequency, to become a conscious co-creator of your life, you must first awaken to the fact that you are, and always have been, the narrator of your own reality. For most of your life, you have been an unconscious author. You believed you were a mere reporter, a journalist taking notes on a life that was happening to you. You wrote your story with an ink of seeming objectivity, thinking you were just recording the way things are. But you were never just a reporter. You were always the author, the storyteller, the playwright. And the manuscript you have been writing has been largely dictated by the ghosts of your past. Your unhealed wounds, your childhood conditioning, your fears, and your limiting beliefs have been your ghostwriters. Look at the book of your life so far. What is the title of the story you have been living? Is it titled, "The Story of How I Am Never Truly Seen"? Is it the tragedy of why good things never last? Perhaps it is the chronicle of scarcity and endless struggle, or the tale of the perpetual victim. We write these stories unconsciously, and then we spend our lives gathering evidence to prove that they are true. If your core story is, "I am always abandoned," you will unconsciously interpret a friend's need for space or a partner's moment of distraction as further proof, another chapter in your tragic tale. You cast yourself in the leading role, and then you are surprised when the drama plays out exactly as you have written it. These repeating patterns in your life are not fate. They are the recurring plot points of a story you have been writing on a loop. The great spiritual awakening, the point of true liberation, is the moment you look down and realize, with a jolt that shakes your very soul, that you are holding the pen. The pen has been in your hand all along. You have not been a character in a book written by fate. You have been the author, with the divine creative power to write any story you choose. You have simply been using your divine power to trace over the faded, sorrowful lines of an old story written by your past. But the past has no power to write your future unless you hand it the pen. In this moment of recognition, you reclaim your authorship, you reclaim your creative authority, and you realize that before you lies the most thrilling and sacred thing in the universe, a blank page. Let us take this metaphor and make it real. In your mind's eye, I want you to imagine the book of your life. Feel its weight in your hands. See the cover, perhaps worn and frayed. Open it. Turn the pages of the early chapters. These are the chapters of your childhood, of your early pains and joys, of your conditioning. They are written, they have happened. You have read these chapters so many times that you know every word by heart. You have recited them to yourself so often that you have mistaken these few opening chapters for the entire book. But now, keep turning the pages. See that beyond the well-worn section, there are more pages, and more, and more. In fact, there are countless pages, clean, white, and empty. The end of your story has not been written. Your destiny is not a fixed conclusion at the back of the book. It is an infinite expanse of blank pages waiting for you to write upon them. The question is no longer, what does my story say? The question is now, what story do I choose to write? This is not an act of delusion or toxic positivity. It is the most sacred and powerful creative work you can do. It is the art of conscious narration, and it begins with a practice that the great mystical teachers, like Neville Goddard, called revision. You have the power not only to write new chapters, but to revise the old ones. This does not mean you change the historical facts of the past, but you can, and must, change the meaning and the emotional narrative of the past. Take a memory that still carries the sting of pain or shame, a memory of rejection, of failure, of embarrassment. In the theater of your imagination, replay the scene, see it clearly, but this time, you are the director. Change the ending. Imagine the other person said what you needed to hear. Imagine they apologized. Or, even more powerfully, imagine that you responded not from the hurt and confusion you felt then, but from the wisdom and compassion you have now. Imagine yourself speaking your truth calmly and clearly. Imagine yourself walking away with your dignity intact. Feel the feeling of this revised scene. Feel the relief, the peace, the sense of closure. Do this not once, but as many times as you need to, until the revised memory feels more real than the original. When you do this, you are not lying to yourself. You are performing an act of alchemical healing. You are changing the energetic imprint of the past within your nervous system. You are taking the pen back from your ghostwriters and reclaiming your own story. Once you have begun to heal the narrative of the past, you can turn your full creative power to the future. This is where you become the deliberate author. The secret to writing a new chapter is to begin at the end. You do not write towards your desire. You write from your desire fulfilled. First, you must get clear on the title of your new chapter. Is it a story of deep and fulfilling love? Is it the adventure of thriving creativity and abundance? Is it the chapter of radiant health and vitality? Choose your new narrative. Now, close your eyes and in your imagination, step into the final scene of that chapter. Your desire is a finished, accomplished fact. The book is published. What does it feel like? This is the absolute key. Do not focus on the how or the when. Focus on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If your desire is for a loving partnership, feel the warmth, the security, the joy, the feeling of being deeply seen and cherished. If your desire is for abundance, feel the sense of ease, of freedom, of generosity, of relief. Linger in this feeling state. Let it permeate every cell of your body. This feeling is the new vibrational signature you are offering to the universe. This feeling is the prayer that is always answered. The final and most crucial step is to live your daily life from this new story. You must embody the character who is already living that fulfilled chapter. How would the person who is radiantly healthy and vital choose their food today? How would the person who is financially free and at ease approach their work? How would the person who knows they are deeply and completely loved interact with strangers? You begin to think, act, and carry yourself as if your new story were already an established fact. This is not faking it. This is living from a place of faith in the unseen reality you have created in your imagination. By doing so, You are calibrating your broadcasting tower to the frequency of your fulfilled desire. You are sending out a clear, coherent, and powerful signal, and the universe, the great publisher, has no choice but to print the manuscript you have submitted. It must arrange the circumstances, the people, and the events to match the story you are living in. To do this requires you to reclaim the most powerful, divine, and often belittled faculty you possess: your imagination. We have been taught that imagination is for children, for fantasy, for idle daydreams. This is a profound untruth. Your imagination is the very workshop of God. It is the fertile ground where all things are first created before they manifest in the physical world. The architect first imagines the building. The composer first hears the symphony in their mind. You are using your imagination every single moment of every single day. The only question is whether you are using it consciously or unconsciously. To worry is to use your imagination to create a future you do not want. It is a form of prayer for disaster. To hold on to resentment is to use your imagination to keep a painful past alive. The work of a conscious narrator is to harness this magnificent power and to deliberately direct it toward the creation of beauty, love, and well-being. You are the author. You are the storyteller. Your life is not a random series of events. It is a narrative that you are actively writing, moment by moment, with your beliefs, your feelings, and your imagination. The universe will never give you a reality that contradicts the story you are telling yourself. So choose to stop rereading the old, sad chapters written by fear. Take up your pen with courage and with love. Turn to the clean, white waiting page of this present moment and begin to write a masterpiece. To do so, to imagine a reality that your five senses do not yet confirm, and to hold that vision with unwavering conviction, requires a powerful and steadfast inner ally. It requires you to move beyond the shallow waters of hope and into the deep ocean of unwavering trust in the unseen. This ally, this state of being, is the essence of true faith, the unshakable bedrock upon which all conscious creation is built. You have awakened to your power as the author of your reality. You have stood before the blank page of the present moment and have begun to write a new story, a new chapter, born not from the wounds of your past but from the boundless freedom of your imagination. You have learned to feel the reality of your desire before it is made manifest, to live from the end. But to hold this new vision steady in a world that shows you contrary evidence, to keep writing your new story when the old one tries to reassert itself, requires a steadfast and powerful companion. This companion is faith. And we must understand faith not as a fragile hope, but as the very bedrock of conscious creation. For too long, we have confused faith with its pale and anxious cousin, hope. Hope lives outside of you. It is a tentative desire for a favorable outcome, a yearning for external circumstances to change. Hope says, "I really hope this works out," and in that phrase, it simultaneously admits the powerful possibility that it may not. Hope looks for signs. It scans the horizon for evidence that things are moving in the right direction. It is a state of waiting, of dependency, and its foundation is shaky, for it can be dashed by the first sign of trouble. Hope is a vibration of uncertainty, a prayer sent out with a question mark at the end. True faith, however, is an entirely different state of being. Faith is not external, it is a deep internal conviction. Faith is not blind, it is a form of higher sight that sees beyond the limitations of the physical senses. Faith is not a desperate wish, it is a calm and quiet knowing. Faith is an act of unwavering loyalty to the reality you have created in your imagination. It is the ability to stand in the midst of a storm while feeling the sun of your fulfilled desire on your skin. It is looking at a bank account that says one thing, while feeling the profound ease and security of the abundance you have claimed as your truth. Faith is not a denial of your current circumstances. It is a refusal to grant them ultimate power. You see the circumstances, you acknowledge them, but you give your primary attention, your creative energy, and your emotional allegiance to the greater reality you have authored within. True faith is not hoping that the unseen laws of the universe will work for you. It is the steady and unshakable trust that they can do no other. It is an understanding that the laws of consciousness are as reliable as the laws of physics. Just as gravity does not fail, the law of resonance does not fail. What you embody in your being, you must experience in your world. Faith is the courage to embody that new state of being before you have any physical proof. Let us explore this through the timeless metaphor of planting a seed. Your desire, the new story you have written in your imagination, is a seed. The fertile soil is the infinite creative potential of the universal consciousness. The act of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, of lingering in that state of being, is the act of planting this seed firmly in the soil. Now, once the seed is planted, the most crucial period begins. It is the period of unseen growth. Underground in the darkness, a miracle is happening. Roots are taking hold. Life is stirring. A sprout is forming. From the surface, you see nothing. There is no evidence that anything is happening at all. This is the test of faith. The ego, like an impatient child, is filled with doubt and anxiety. It wants to dig up the seed every day to check on its progress. Is it working? Is anything happening? Maybe I did it wrong. This act of digging up the seed with doubt is what destroys the creative process. A wise farmer does not do this. A wise farmer has faith. He plants the seed and he trusts the unseen process. His trust is not blind. It is based on his knowledge of the immutable laws of nature. He knows that if he provides the right conditions, water, soil, sunlight, the seed must, by its own nature, grow. And so he acts with faith. He waters the ground where the unseen seed lies. He protects it. He acts as if the harvest is an inevitability. Our faith must be like the farmer's, too. Once we have planted our desire in the imagination, our work is not to anxiously question the process. Our work is to trust the unseen spiritual laws. Our work is to continue to water the seed with the feeling of gratitude and the joy of its fulfillment. We give it the sunlight of our loving attention. We act as if our harvest is already assured, because in the dimension of consciousness where all creation begins, it is already done. As you hold steady in your faith, the universe will begin to orchestrate a series of events to bring your imagined reality into physical form. This is often called the bridge of incidents. It is the sequence of seemingly normal or sometimes even strange events that are the necessary steps to get you from where you are to where you have claimed to be. It is crucial to understand that the steps on this bridge may not look the way your logical mind expects. Sometimes, a seeming setback is a crucial part of the bridge. The job you lose may be the very event that frees you to start the creative business you imagined. The relationship that ends may be the necessary clearing that makes space for the true loving partnership you have claimed. The ego will panic at these moments. It will say, "See, it's not working. This is a disaster." But faith is the ability to walk across this bridge with a calm and knowing heart, trusting that every single step, no matter how confusing or challenging, is a necessary part of the divine unfolding. It is the ability to see the hand of your higher self in all circumstances, knowing that everything is conspiring to bring you home to the reality you have chosen. Ultimately, faith is not an intellectual exercise. It is a feeling. It is the feeling of trust itself. It is the feeling of relief. It is the quiet, peaceful emotion that accompanies the knowledge that it is done. Your practice of faith, therefore, is the practice of returning to this feeling. Whenever the time traveler of your mind jumps to the future with worry, whenever the world presents evidence to the contrary and doubt begins to creep in, your task is to gently guide your awareness back to your inner sanctuary. You re-enter the theater of your imagination and you replay the final scene. You recapture the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This feeling is the substance of things not yet seen. It is the signal you are broadcasting. It is the faith that moves mountains, for it is the faith that aligns your personal energy with the creative energy of all that is. When you possess this unshakable faith, when you truly know in the core of your being that your destination, the reality you have authored, is an assured fact waiting for its appointed hour, a profound and liberating shift occurs in your journey. You are no longer desperately striving to reach the goal. The clawing anxiety of, will I or will I not succeed, dissolves into a quiet confidence. The journey is no longer a stressful means to an end. And in the space created by this release, you are given the grace to fall in love with the process itself, to find a deep and abiding joy, not just in the future arrival, but in every step of the journey. This is the liberating art of detachment from the outcome. You are standing in the quiet, confident knowing of faith. You have authored a new reality in your imagination, planted the seed in the fertile ground of consciousness, and now you are trusting the unseen laws of the universe to bring it into glorious form. This state of profound trust is the key that unlocks the door to one of the most graceful and liberating ways of being. When you truly know, in the core of your being, that your destination is assured, the frantic, desperate need to control the journey dissolves. The anxiety of the how and the when fades into a peaceful stillness. In this stillness, you are given the gift of falling in love with the process itself. You are invited to learn the sacred art of detachment from the outcome. Let us first be clear about what we are detaching from. We are detaching from attachment, which is the primary source of anxiety in all human endeavor. Attachment is the ego's iron grip on a specific result, a specific timeline, and a specific form. It is the voice that whispers, "It must happen this way, and it must happen now, or else I am a failure." This grasping, needy energy is a state of profound resistance. It poisons the present moment, turning it into a mere stepping stone to be endured on the way to a future prize. When you are attached to the outcome, you cannot enjoy the journey. The journey becomes a source of stress. Every step is measured against the imagined destination, and it is always found wanting. Every unexpected delay is seen as a disaster. Every detour is a sign of failure. This state of attachment is a vibration of fear, the fear that you won't get what you want, and, as we know, this fear-based frequency only serves to constrict the very flow of creative energy you are trying to harness. The paradox is that the more desperately you need a particular outcome, the more you energetically push it away. Detachment, then, is not what the ego fears it to be. It is not apathy. It is not carelessness. It is not a lack of intention or desire. You do not give up on your goal. On the contrary, you hold your intention with clarity and love, but you release your white-knuckled grip on the specifics of its manifestation. Detachment is a profound state of freedom. It is the freedom to give 100% of your energy, your focus, and your love to the task at hand, without the crippling burden of expectation. It is the liberation that comes from finding your joy and your reward in the doing, rather than endlessly deferring your happiness to a future that may or may not unfold as you planned. It is the ultimate expression of faith. If you truly trust that the harvest is coming, you can enjoy the act of tending the garden. Imagine a great artist standing before a blank canvas. Let us first imagine an artist who is consumed by attachment. His mind is not on the canvas, but on the future. Will this painting be a masterpiece? Will the critics praise it? Will it sell for a high price? Will it make me famous? Every brushstroke is laden with this heavy anxiety. He mixes a color, but he is not present with the beauty of the pigment. He is worried if it is the right color for the critics. He makes a bold stroke, but he does not feel the thrill of the creative act. He feels the fear that he has made a mistake. The process of creation, which should be a source of joy, becomes a torment. The studio becomes a courtroom. The art becomes a product. Now, imagine another artist. This artist is in love with the process. She too has an intention, a vision for the painting, but her primary focus is on the sacred act of creation itself. She delights in the smell of the oil paints and the turpentine. She is mesmerized by the way the brilliant crimson mixes with the deep ultramarine on her palette. She feels the satisfying drag of the brush against the texture of the canvas. Her joy is not located in a future gallery opening. Her joy is here, now, in this brushstroke, and this one, and this one. Because she is relaxed, present, and filled with the love of the doing, she enters a state of flow. She is channeling, not forcing. Her hand is guided by an intelligence beyond her ego. And, ironically, the painting that emerges from this state of detached, joyful presence is far more likely to be a masterpiece. The beautiful outcome is a natural byproduct of a beautiful process. This is the invitation for you. In the art of your own life, can you become the artist who falls in love with the process of living? Your goal may be to build a successful business. The attached approach is to be obsessed with the profit margins and the 5-year plan, enduring the daily tasks as a stressful chore. The detached approach is to fall in love with the process of building it, to find joy in the creative problem solving, to find fulfillment in the conversation with a client, to be fully present with the task of writing an email. You set your intention for a flourishing business, and then you release the outcome to the universe and focus all your loving attention on the single brushstroke in front of you now. This is a practice of shifting your focus. You have planted the seed of your desire in faith. You have turned it over to the master gardener, the universe. Now, your job is not to worry about the harvest. Your job is to tend to the daily activities with as much presence and joy as you can muster. You release your attachment to the how and the when. Your ego has a very limited idea of how things should unfold. The universe has an infinite and far more creative perspective. By letting go of your rigid plan, you make space for miracles, for happy accidents, for synchronicities you could never have engineered. A powerful practice is to add a silent postscript to all of your intentions. This, or something better, for the highest good of all. This simple phrase loosens the ego's grip. It introduces an element of holy surrender. It says to the universe, I trust your wisdom more than my own limited view. True faith and detachment are two sides of the same golden coin. If your faith is strong, detachment is the natural result. If you truly know that the seed you have planted is growing perfectly in the unseen realm, you don't feel the need to anxiously check on it. You can relax. You can enjoy the sunshine. You can get on with the joyful business of your day. If you find yourself feeling anxious, stressed, and attached to an outcome, see it not as a failure, but as a gentle signal. It is your inner guidance system telling you that you have slipped out of faith and into doubt. It is an invitation to return to your inner sanctuary, to reconnect with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to reaffirm your trust in the process. This is the ultimate freedom. It is the freedom to show up fully, to play full out, to love with an open heart, all without the paralyzing fear of a specific result. Your sense of self-worth is no longer tied to the outcome, because you know you are the diamond, worthy regardless of any external success or failure. Your peace is no longer contingent on the future, because you have found it in the richness of the present moment. You become the dancer who is so in love with the dance that she forgets about the audience. She becomes the dance itself. The journey becomes the destination. And as you live in this state of detached joy, as you are fully present with the magnificent process of your own becoming, a beautiful and powerful feeling begins to spontaneously arise and permeate your entire being. You find yourself noticing the magic in the mundane, the gift in the given, the grace in the unfolding. This is the expansive, reality-shifting frequency of gratitude, the ultimate key to unlocking and sustaining a life of profound joy and effortless abundance. You are floating in the gentle current of the great river, moving with life instead of fighting against it. You have discovered the freedom of detachment, the quiet joy of being in love with the process rather than being shackled to the outcome. From this state of relaxed, faithful presence, a new quality of awareness begins to blossom organically within you. Like a fragrant flower opening in a well-tended garden, it arises not through force, but through grace. This flower, this state of being, this ultimate key to a life of sustained joy, is gratitude. And we must approach it not as a polite platitude, but as one of the most potent and reality-altering spiritual practices available to humankind. For many of us, gratitude has been taught as a transactional courtesy. It is the thank you we say when we receive a gift. It is the mental list we are encouraged to make before sleep. I am grateful for my home, my job, my family. While this practice is beneficial, it is merely the entryway, the kindergarten of gratitude. This form of gratitude is often conditional. It is dependent on external circumstances being favorable. I am grateful today because I got good news. I will be grateful when I finally achieve my goal. This keeps our inner state tethered to the whims of the external world. It is also often a mental exercise, an accounting of assets that can still leave a subtle feeling of separation. Here I am, and out there are the things I am grateful for. But the path to unshakable emotional intelligence invites us to go deeper, to move from the act of feeling gratitude for things to the profound state of being gratitude itself. To be gratitude is to embody it as a fundamental frequency. It is a lens through which you perceive the world, a conscious choice to tune your entire being to the vibration of appreciation. This state is unconditional. It is not dependent on whether the sun is shining or the rain is falling. It is a fierce and courageous choice to find the gift in the given, no matter what the given is. It is gratitude for the sheer, staggering miracle of existence itself. It is the quiet awe you can feel for the fact that you are conscious, that you are breathing, that you have the capacity to experience the entire spectrum of life, from sorrow to ecstasy. This is the gratitude that shifts realities. As we have learned, the universe is a field of energy that responds to our vibrational broadcast. Gratitude is among the highest, purest, and most magnetic frequencies you can emit. The feeling of gratitude, the words "thank you," energetically imply that a gift has already been received. To live in a state of gratitude is to constantly send out the powerful signal, "I have received, I am cared for, I am whole, I have enough." By the immutable law of resonance, the universe must, without fail, bring you more experiences that match this broadcast. It must give you more to be grateful for. It is the ultimate creative hack, for it aligns you with the feeling of your wish fulfilled before it has even appeared in physical form. Let us use a metaphor to understand this power. Imagine that the events of your life, the good, the bad, the beautiful, the painful, the mundane, like a collection of small, seemingly random pieces of colored glass. Some pieces are sharp and broken, others are smooth and lovely. This is life as most people see it. A chaotic, random assortment of experiences. Gratitude is a kaleidoscope. When you pick up this divine instrument and look at your life through its lens, the very same pieces of your life are instantly and magically rearranged. The mirrors of your transformed perception reflect the pieces in such a way that they form a breathtakingly beautiful, intricate, and symmetrical pattern. Nothing about the pieces themselves has changed. The painful memory is still there. The mundane task is still there. But your way of seeing them has utterly transformed them, revealing a hidden order, a secret beauty, a divine intelligence that was there all along. Seen through the kaleidoscope of gratitude, the difficult colleague who triggers you is no longer a source of irritation, but a sacred mirror, a teacher of patience and energetic boundaries, and you feel a strange sense of gratitude for the lesson. The painful illness is no longer a curse, but an intense and powerful messenger, forcing you to rest, to reevaluate your life, to discover your own inner strength, and you find gratitude for the awakening it provided. The mundane chore of washing the dishes is no longer a burden, but a sensual miracle of warm water, the simple joy of creating order and cleanliness, and you feel gratitude for having hands that work and plates to wash. The kaleidoscope of gratitude does not deny the existence of the broken pieces. It finds the beauty in their arrangement. It finds the gift in the wound. Let us practice using this kaleidoscope now, moving beyond a mental list and into an embodied state. Find a quiet space and bring your awareness into your body. Let us begin a journey of gratitude, not for what you have, but for what you are. Bring your attention to your feet. Feel them on the floor, and in your heart, generate a wave of gratitude for these 2 feet that have carried you through every single day of your life, that have allowed you to stand, to walk, to run, to dance. Let the feeling of thanks permeate your feet. Now bring your awareness to your lungs. Feel the gentle, automatic rhythm of your breath. Feel gratitude for this miracle, this exchange of life with the world that happens thousands of times a day without any conscious effort from you. Feel your heart. Place your hand upon it. Feel its steady, faithful beat. This heart has been beating for you every second of every day since before you were born. It has never asked for a day off. It is the engine of your life. Can you feel a profound sense of gratitude for its unwavering service? This is not a thought. It is a feeling, a deep, cellular appreciation. Now, for a more advanced practice, I invite you to gently bring to mind a challenge you have faced, a broken piece from your past. Do not choose your most traumatic memory, but one that has been difficult. See it clearly, acknowledge the pain it caused, and now, holding it gently, look at it through the lens of the kaleidoscope. Without denying the pain, can you find one small sliver of gratitude associated with it? Did it teach you a lesson you desperately needed to learn? Did it reveal a strength you never knew you had? Did it change the course of your life in a way that ultimately led to something beautiful? Did it make you more compassionate? Find that one golden thread of gratitude and focus on it. Feel it. This is the master practice of the alchemist, finding the gold in the lead, finding the beauty in the brokenness. You can weave this into your daily life. When you wake in the morning, before your feet even touch the floor, let your first thought be a simple thank you, not for anything specific, just a thank you for the gift of a new day. You are setting your vibrational tone for the hours ahead. You can practice a gratitude walk, where with every step you take, you silently pulse the words thank you in your mind, attuning your entire being to this harmonious frequency. And perhaps most powerfully, you can begin to use gratitude as the highest form of prayer. Most prayer comes from a place of asking, a frequency of lack. Please give me. A prayer of gratitude comes from a place of faith and reception. You offer thanks for the healing before it has fully manifested. You offer thanks for the abundance as if it is already in your bank account. You offer thanks for the love as if your beloved is already with you. You say, thank you for the perfect unfolding of my well-being. This is a prayer that aligns you completely with the reality of your desire. It is a statement of profound faith, declaring that you know the gift is already yours. Gratitude, when practiced as a state of being, is the force that dissolves the illusion of separation. It makes you realize that you are in a constant, loving exchange with life. It turns what you have into enough and more. It transforms denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It is the frequency of grace, the feeling of heaven on earth, and it is available to you in any moment you choose to tune your heart to it. It is the natural, radiant state of a soul that has come home to itself. And when your being is saturated with this unconditional gratitude, when faith is your bedrock and detachment your freedom, you arrive at the final destination of this inner journey, which is, in truth, the very place you started from, now seen with new eyes. You embody the unshakable core. You become a walking expression of inner peace, not as a fleeting state to be achieved, but as the very essence of who you are. Your being is now saturated with the high, sweet frequency of gratitude. You have learned to look at your life through the kaleidoscope of appreciation, discovering the hidden beauty and divine order in all things. When your heart is open in this way, when faith is your compass and detachment your freedom, you finally arrive. You arrive not at a new destination, but at the very ground of your own being, the place you started from but did not know. You arrive at the unshakable core of peace that has been patiently waiting for you beneath all the noise and struggle of your life. This is the culmination of your journey. This is the embodiment of unshakable emotional intelligence. Let us retrace the sacred path that has brought you here, not as a list of lessons, but as a remembrance of your own transformation. You began in the noisy, chaotic marketplace of the unquiet mind, believing you were the frantic shopper, tossed about by the shouts of fear and regret. Then, you discovered the quiet balcony above it all. You remembered that you were not the chaos, but the silent watcher who could observe it with a detached compassion. You learned that you are not the fleeting clouds of emotion, but the vast, unchanging sky that holds them all. You stopped fighting the messengers of emotion and learned to welcome them, to open their sacred letters, and to read the wisdom they carried, the guardian fire of anger, the cleansing waters of sadness. You discovered that these messages were written in the ink of physical sensation, and that your body is a divine compass, always pointing you toward or away from your truth. You learned the terrifying but liberating art of surrender, of dropping the oars and trusting the great river of life to carry you. From that surrender, a new way of acting was born. You ceased to be the anxious archer, shooting from a place of fear, and became the still archer, whose powerful actions arise from a place of profound inner peace. You stepped into the alchemist's laboratory of your own soul and found the courage to face the lead of your old wounds, transmuting them in the gentle fire of your loving awareness into the gold of wisdom. This alchemy revealed to you the greatest lie. You were never lead to begin with. You remembered that you are the diamond, your worth inherent, absolute, and not up for debate. Knowing your own sacred value, you learned to build the fence of energetic boundaries, becoming the conscious gatekeeper of your own inner garden. And in that protected sanctuary, you planted the most beautiful flower, the flower of radical self-compassion, learning to speak to yourself with the kindness you so readily offer others. From this place of self-love, you looked out and saw the world not as a threat, but as a great hall of mirrors. Every person reflecting back to you your own light and your own shadow, transforming every relationship into an opportunity for grace. This understanding allowed you to drop the burning coals of resentment and to finally forgive, unchaining yourself from the ghosts of the past. Free at last, you arrived in the only place life ever happens, the eternal now. You learned to anchor yourself in the present moment, escaping the trap of psychological time. And here, in the now, you discovered the wisdom of the great silence, the fertile stillness from which all true answers arise. You came to know yourself not as a solid object, but as a vibrant broadcasting tower of energy, and learned to consciously choose the frequency of your being. You reclaimed your power as the author of your reality, realizing that the pen has always been in your hand. And you have grounded this entire journey in faith, the unshakable trust in the unseen, which allows you to find joy not in the destination, but in the process itself. This entire journey brings you here to this final understanding. Let us use one last metaphor to hold it all. Your being is like the great ocean. For most of your life, you have lived on the surface. The surface of the ocean is the realm of your personality, your daily thoughts, your passing emotions. It is completely exposed to the elements of the world. On some days, the sun shines, the water is calm, and the surface is placid and beautiful. On other days, great storms arise. The winds howl, the rain lashes down, and the surface is thrown into a churning chaos of immense violent waves. Believing that you are only the surface, you have lived a life of constant reactivity, feeling peaceful on the calm days and terrified and overwhelmed on the stormy ones. You have spent your life trying to control the weather, an impossible and exhausting task. Unshakable emotional intelligence is not the power to stop the storms. The storms of life will always come. There will be loss, there will be challenges, there will be pain. The great liberation is the realization that you are not just the surface, you are the entire ocean. I invite you now to sink down beneath the turbulent surface. Down, down, through the sunlit waters, past the realm where the waves have any power, down into the deep, deep, silent, dark stillness of the abyssal plain. Here, at the core of your being, the hurricane raging on the surface is not even a distant tremor. There is an immense, profound peace. There is a silent, unmoving, incredible power. Nothing here can be disturbed. Nothing here can be harmed. This is the unshakable core. This is the vast, silent peace of your true nature. This is the being that lies beneath all your doing. To embody this is not to become unfeeling. On the contrary, you feel everything, but you are no longer defined by it. You are anchored in the depths. When a great wave of sadness or anger moves across the surface of your life, you can feel it fully. You can honor its power and its message, but you no longer believe that you are the wave. You know that you are the vast ocean that is allowing the wave to pass. Your center of gravity has shifted from the turbulent mind to the still heart, from the reactive surface to the peaceful depths. You live from this place of stillness. And when you live from this place, you become a sanctuary for others. You become a lighthouse, standing firm and bright in the storm, not by resisting the wind, but by being anchored in the deep earth beneath the waves. Your peace is no longer a fragile state dependent on external conditions. It is the very essence of your presence, a silent gift you offer to the world just by being. And you must know this. You have not created this ocean. You have not achieved this peace. You have simply remembered it. It has been here all along, waiting patiently for you to come home. The entire journey has been a process of removing the layers of illusion, the false beliefs, the mistaken identities, the unhealed pains that kept you living a frantic life on the surface, unaware of the infinite peace of your own depths. There is nothing to maintain. There is nothing to hold on to. You are the ocean. Your only practice now is to remember this. When you feel lost in the storm, your practice is to let your awareness sink back down, back home, to the stillness that you are. The desperate search is over. The peace you were seeking in the world, in others, in future achievements, was the very essence of your own being all along. You are the ocean. You are the stillness. You are the peace. Rest here. This is your home. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey together, which is simply the beginning of your own. You have walked the inner path, from the noisy, crowded marketplace of the anxious mind to the deep, silent, peaceful ocean of your own being. You have learned to see that you are not the fleeting storm on the surface, but the vast and eternal stillness of the depths. This is the only truth that has ever mattered. All the lessons, all the practices, all the metaphors were simply signposts pointing you back home to the peace that you are. Do not strive to hold on to this peace. Do not struggle to maintain it. You cannot lose what you are. You can only forget. And when you forget, when the storms of life threaten to pull you back to the frantic surface, simply remember, Remember the feeling of the deep ocean. Remember the sky that is unharmed by the clouds. Remember the silent watcher that lives behind your eyes. Your only work now is to carry this remembrance with you, to let it inform your every breath, your every action, your every heartbeat. Let this be the mantra that anchors you, the quiet truth you return to. I am the stillness within the storm. I am the silence that holds the noise. I am the ocean, vast and deep. I am peace. There is nothing more you need to learn. There is nowhere else you need to go. You have arrived. The search is over. Now, the living begins. Listen.